and welcome to the Darkened Hour. This is your host, Joshua X. Nothart, and with me, of course, is the wonderful
Tia LaBeouf,
all right,
Tia Belcher.
There you go. And if you guys noticed, we are missing one individual, but not really missing one individual. We're missing the wonderful Aesop. And the reason we're missing him is not he got eaten by a wildebeest, pretty much.
Holy
Okay.
shit.
Yeah. but we have someone here who is it's our honor to have on the show.
Oh, guys.
Mr. David Crownson, right?
Yes.
Right?
Hi, I'm David Crownson.
Wonderful last name, by the way.
Thank you.
Did you bring your crown?
So much. Yeah, I did not bring my crown.
But it's okay.
And I don't have a son, so like I do not have a son of any kind.
It's fine because you definitely brought some sort of crown, and that is, of course, Harriet Tubman Demon Slayer.
Yes.
Wonderful. Now, for those who are going to be listening to this, because this is recording, we're not really streaming on Facebook or on YouTube. This is actually the first time we're recording something precursor because our shows are always on Sundays at 8 p.m. This is a momentous occasion for us. This is one of our second interview on the show.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Which I have you to thank, Tia LaBeouf.
Yeah. Actually, for both of these interviews,
Yeah, there you go. She's the one who pulls the weight around here. We don't do nothing
All right,
here.
Tia, we get it. Be humble. All right.
No,
we
I will not sit down and be humble.
Now, of course. So, tell the audience what is it that you do? I mean, you're in a comic book podcast, of course.
Yes.
Therefore, you have something to do with comic books.
Yes, I do.
But tell the audience the magnificence of that is to have David Crownson on this show, and why is that so?
Y'all making a black man blush. So my name is David Crownson. My background actually is in acting and in performing, but I grew up loving comic books and grew up reading comic books. My dad actually got me into comic books when I was against it a little bit. Because I'm like all these silly panels. This is ridiculous, I was like, Dad, get me an Animorphs book,
Okay, let me take off my thing here. Because first of all, he had me an actor and filming, and then he said comic books, and then he said Animorphs. Like, oh my god, that's my nostalgia right there.
I was like, I want to read Animorphs, Dad. And he's like, at the time, Superman had died in the comics.
Doomsday.
Doomsday, like 90s stuff, and it was a big deal. It was like on the news. It was on like CNN. I remember it was like a real person died, and my dad bought the trade paperback of the death of Superman, and he's like, my parents are originally from Ghana, West Africa, so like my dad like has an accent. He's like, son, I heard about this comic book. Superman is dead. You must take this trade paperback book and keep it. It'll be worth millions of dollars because Superman is dead. And I'm like, all right.
My God,
you can
my
laugh.
life.
It's okay.
No. I don't want to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, so like, but my dad like thought I would like keep these. And also at this same time, Batman's back had been broken.
Yes.
Like I think everyone was doing like DC was doing their death of thing. So Superman died. Batman like had his back broken. I was waiting for Aquaman to drown in a pool. It didn't happen.
Drown in the surface world.
Drown in some air.
I wanted to like drown in a pool. I'm like, all right, when's that coming? But it didn't happen. So my dad bought me these trade paperbacks of like Batman dying, Superman dying, and Batman being crippled. Yeah. And like I read the stories. I'm like, oh, this is like the Death of Superman trade paperback is the first thing I ever read. And I'm like, oh, like this is really intense. Like Superman's like getting his ass kicked, and you got to, and also it was like a giant book because it was also the death and return of Superman, and there's a big section in the middle where it's like 8 issues of a world without Superman, and it's his funeral. Yes. So you get to see like what the world is like without him. So it's everyone's like in mourning, like and it's like you get to see like, oh, this is how important this character is, and then I like fell in love, and like I read everything else, and like to my dad's disappointment, I like I brought that book with me everywhere, and it's like torn to pieces now, and it's all messed up.
Oh,
because I
man.
like from like second grade to like sixth grade, I was like always reading it. It's like a
Wow.
giant book, and yeah, I got into comics and made my own little comic strips in like middle school and like in high school, and then got into like acting and performing and all that other stuff. And I was nervous about acting in high school because I got made fun of a lot for being a nerd. And like you have to understand, like, I know it's cool to be like a blerd now.
Yeah,
like,
Yeah, that's
it
a
was
thing
not
now.
like
that's
that in the
really
day.
cool. But like back in the day, like if
Listen.
if you were walking around with like nothing, if you were walking around like, and I grew up kind of like preppy,
Yeah.
you know, like I was the only like black kid that like my parents are from like Ghana, West Africa.
Yeah.
All my family members are either from Canada or from like London.
Oh, wow.
So
Wow.
I didn't have like a frame of reference of what it is to be like a black American, what they would call a black American. And my school was kind of though it was like mixed and diverse, a lot of like these black kids felt they needed to be like, yo, I gotta be hood.
Yeah.
Because that means I'm black. And like, I'm like, yeah, we live in the suburbs of New Jersey. You need to calm that shit like, all the way the fuck down.
That's-
Bring it.
Yeah, like this
Right.
one dude was like the toughest. I won't say his name. I'll embarrass him because he's like really mature now. I won't say
Yeah.
his name to embarrass
Character
him.
growth.
Yeah.
He was like the hardest dude, and like had cornrows and stuff like that, rocking the Timbs and shit. Got into fights.
From New York.
Yeah, from New York and shit. Freaking someone stepped on his Timbs. He's like, yo,
Deadass.
yo, you better wipe them off, son. You better wipe that off. You better wipe that off. You stepped on my Timbs, son. And then like I was in charge of doing the yearbook, and that same dude I was talking about was like the top of his class, and his parents. And he was
Real name Clarence.
He's not a gangster. His real name's Clarence, and Clarence's parents have a real good marriage.
I'm really happy we both got that. Oh, that was great.
Yes. Now on Netflix. It really is. The movie's on Netflix. But he was the top. He was in chess club. And
Wow.
I was like, what? And I had to go take pictures in the yearbook club, and like, it's like all these Asian kids, and they're like, oh, we're missing one guy. And I'm like, oh, who is it? And like, and then he walked in the room. I was like, oh, hey man, I think you're in the wrong room. He's like, nah, no, I'm not. I'm like, what the fuck? What is this? So, but anywho, like, he was like, yo, don't tell anyone about this. I'm like, Negro, it's gonna be in the fucking yearbook. Everyone's gonna know. He's like, well, no, the other kids can afford to get a yearbook. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of fucked up. But it wasn't considered like, you know, a cool thing to be black and to like comic books and to like anything of
Just
nerd
to be
culture.
nerd at all, period.
Yeah.
Geek. It's just not
Yeah.
even about that back in the day at all.
Yeah, like, it wasn't like they would be like Urkel
Yeah.
and all this shit
Yeah,
and
yeah,
like
yeah.
make fun of me and shit. Like, I think my high school was next to the mall, and there was a movie theater at my mall. And like my friends say, hey man, you want to go see Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring after school? I was like, fuck yes, I do. And, like,
D&D, you know, all that
know,
good stuff.
And then, you know, these other dudes were just like, yo, Crownson, we smoking weed after school. I'm like, nah, I'm good. And he's like, yo, where you going after school, man? And I'm like, I'm gonna go watch a movie. What movie you gonna watch? Next Friday. Next Friday. Wait a minute, that's not even theaters. And I would just run away. But like, no, yeah, it wasn't considered a cool thing. And I got made fun of and like terrorized a lot from like middle school through.
I think
up until high school.
we've been through that. I mean, especially during my grammar school days. You
Oh
know,
yeah,
you know,
ruthless.
yeah, it wasn't cool to be a nerd at all.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
like, I think, but I got over it. This is a little bit of a sad story, but it's good.
Okay.
Everyone gets upset, but I think it's good. So I'm 16, and my father passes away.
Okay.
And that was like a wake-up call because the day before, or actually a year before my dad passed away, we went to go see X-Men. It was fucking awesome. And my dad was traveling, and my dad said, hey, he was like, you know, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I said, oh, I think I want to like act. It would be really cool if I could write something, maybe direct something. And my dad, you know, my parents are from Africa. You know, my dad's from Nigeria, so it, like, they are very much like,
Traditional.
You're going to be an engineer or a doctor.
Yeah,
You
something,
know?
something,
Stable.
right,
Yeah,
something practical, something that's
Yeah, something that will make you a lot of money.
Yeah,
and shit.
pretty much.
And like my dad just was like, okay,
Oh wow.
cool. I think you should do that. I think you would do great in that.
Ah.
And then like a year ago, my dad and I was still like nervous about acting because I'm getting made fun of a lot, and I'm getting like terrorized and getting basketballs thrown at me and shit.
Oh my, that's like a movie. Like,
oh yeah, it was
they're
really
like movie bullies. Like they're extra.
Yeah, it's like dumb extra. like this one girl, I got also, this was so bad. I got terrorized by this one white girl who like hung out with all like the black kids and shit, and she was mad that like, yo, why you wearing Ralph Lauren's? I'm like, because my mom bought it for me. And she was like, yo, let me shake your hand. And I was like, okay. And she went to go shake my hand, and like I got electrocuted. She had one of those like trick things.
Whoa, what?
That's crazy.
It's Harley Quinn. What's going on with this?
I was like,
I'll make sure you're close to the mic.
Yeah,
I was like, why'd you do that? And she's like, yeah, that's what you get. I'm like, what did I do? So like, yeah, it was a challenging character building, middle school and high school. And then, after my father like passed away, I was like, oh, I can't like afford to be afraid anymore. Like, what if I died tomorrow? Like, my dad said it was okay. And
he gave you your blessing. Right?
Yeah, like he gave me like his blessing and everything.
Yeah.
And I was always very passionate about it, but I never talked about it because, when you grow up and you're like, black and nerdy and you're consistently made fun of, in a way, when you do reveal yourself, you're kind of apologizing for who you are in a way.
Yeah, subconsciously speaking, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so like,
especially when it comes to the closest family. I mean, especially immediate, like like moms or dads or your parents, or how they're gonna take it, if you will. So
exactly,
it's especially with the kind of circumstance. I mean, every circumstance is different, but
Oh yeah, so like my dad passed, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna act. I'm gonna like do whatever I can to like act, and I did like a performing arts high school for 2 years, and like it was great, amazing. Votech, performing arts high school, best year of my life.
Oh right,
yeah, and then
performing high school.
Yeah, we both went to performing high school.
Oh, you guys went to performing arts high
school? Arts major.
Yeah, writing major.
Yeah.
What major were you?
I was a writing major.
You're a writing major?
Yes, sir.
Art? Oh,
yeah.
Dope.
Best of comic book worlds right here.
We went to like the blackest name for our school, Rosa L. Parks High
School.
Shout out to Rosa Parks High School.
that is. I'm sorry.
She actually visited the school.
It's fine.
Yeah, in the 80s she visited.
Yeah, she visited. Yeah. It was an actual thing.
Oh, wow.
It wasn't just by the name. Like she went in and she.
Yeah.
She was wheeled through the hallways, but I mean, it was great though.
That's
it was
amazing.
Great.
Yeah.
I apologize for like laughing.
We'll fix it in post.
It was my precursor. You're like, oh, what name?
I'm sorry, because like I immediately just thought like I don't know what has anyone seen How to Be a Menace to South Central?
Yes.
Oh yes.
It just reminded me of like that church, and that church's name is like the Greater Ebenezer, like
the most blackest name you can
New
think about.
Zion Tree of Life Institutional Baptist Church of Zion. It's like a long ass name.
Just to get the point across. We understand. We get it.
Here at the Greater Ebenezer New Revival Tree of Life Institutional Baptist Church of Zion. Oh shit!
But yeah, we definitely understand.
We get that because we were like an anime club in high school. Like,
you're the only black people in your anime.
No, the whole school was black and Latino, so we had that kind of comfortable. You're a nerd, we're nerds, we're both black and Latino, and it was like there wasn't that one person you're like into it.
And it's funny because my hardships of being a nerd was during my grammar school years because
and they were shedded,
right? And because I went to an urban school, it was a public school, whereas Rosa Parks was an academy.
Yeah.
They narrowed out. Not saying there's nothing wrong with public schools, because Kennedy High School, Eastside, pride, but once you get into Rosa Parks, the doors through Rosa Parks, it's like it's a brand new, different world, mind you, because you were no longer ridiculed for what you liked.
Yeah,
you're celebrated for it.
Because you had drama majors, you had actors, you had writers, you had instrumentalists, and there was one point everything at the end of the core.
Hallways.
Yeah, and there was the main core of all of the
battles in the hallway.
That's not even a joke.
Yes,
it's not even a joke.
Yes.
It's so serious.
But the core of the entire school was art. Yeah. And at one point, at some points, comic book, nerd, games, and all this, it was still art. You know, so there was no longer the ridicule. Oh, you like games? Oh, that's cool. I like art. I like writing. There's still, we can always overlap at one point, shape, or form. Yeah. So that was where everything just.
We
stopped
had trips
for
to
me.
like Comic-Con and stuff like that. You know
yeah.
what I mean?
What?
Yeah.
Mr. Ramos organized a whole thing where we had a bus to take us straight to Comic-Con. First time I went, I was like 16 or whatever.
Yeah, shout outs to
Mr. Ramos for making that possible.
Shout out to, what's his name again?
Mr. Ramos, William Ramos.
Shout out to William Ramos.
Yeah, because
I want to go to a Comic-Con. All we went to go see was The Lion King. I'm grateful. I'm grateful for seeing The Lion King.
Yeah.
The movie or the actual Broadway play?
No, the actual Broadway play.
Oh, I'm so jealous because
I'm jelly. I would really like to see that.
I would have loved to see go to Comic-Con. Shit. Shut the fuck up. I'm kidding.
It's fine. It's just the Darkened Hour, okay? We don't care getting darker hour. It's fine.
It's the darker hour.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we had kind of like this. I guess it's a privilege to be amongst people your peers. You know what I mean? I've known Josh since I was 14. You know what I mean? So you know we've always kind of like vibed on the nerd stuff, and I got into comic books like reading it heavy only a couple years ago. You know what I mean? And he would come to my house.
I came up to it with a stack of Batman stuff. Here,
he's like,
read this.
The starter pack.
No lie. Like
hey, girl.
He gave me a book bag full of stuff, and I was like, all right, cool. Killing Joke, you know what I mean?
All the essentials, the classicals, man.
All the essentials. So, and then I kind of went on my own path where I like reading Image more. I like indie comics. I like supporting those sites. So I actively seek those things out and whatnot. So that's how I kind of got into this culture. It always was in my peripherals. Like my dad really into comics.
Yeah.
So, you know, he collected them, you know, in the late 60s and 70s and all that. The, you know, first issue Spider-Man and all that. But, you know, grandma throws it away because he thinks it's trash. And
which
all
is
that.
usually always the underlying story across the board with everybody.
Seriously.
It's stuck in the basement. They got to throw it out because either have to move.
And the Abuela throws it away, and that's it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Man, so help you God if someone threw away my copy.
You know, I said the exact same thing.
I think you've had long conversations with like your mom and your dad. Like, don't even think about it.
They will see.
They know.
Well, I grew up because my dad, you know, he was a really big. He's like a movie fanatic.
Yeah.
You know, and he's also really big on comic books. His thing was Superman and Kamandi, which is DC now is doing a new rendition of right now. But and that just kind of just subconsciously slowly came to me. He never really, hey son, hear everything. No, it's like I actually found it out myself,
which is nice
because he was always around it. And I was too young to know what was around me at the time. So and I came into like consciousness while that still was around me. I was like, oh, what is these books? And I just, you know, and that was a very ingenious way that he did it. It was like more of a, you know, he never put it on my face. It was like it was just always around me with movies and stuff like that.
Same.
You know?
That was like that for me too.
And I grew up with a Hispanic, you know, culture family. It was never like, oh, you're gonna be the next Sasha. That was what put in my face. It was never like the comic book thing, you know. But it was just my dad. My dad, it was, you know, he had his own methodologies and whatnot.
Yeah,
so.
like I grew up on, you know, Batman the animated series,
yes,
Justice League,
yes,
movies that I watched with my dad.
Yeah, they're amazing.
Things that I watched with my
Batman
dad.
Beyond. No,
yes.
DC really kills it animation wise. Yeah, I'm biased.
There you go.
Actually, no. I think the '90s was the only time you could equally like Marvel and DC at the same
X-Men,
time.
You know, the X-Men TV series, which hasn't aged as well as I'd like it to. It is kind of
it's aged well.
Only thing that's popping is the theme song. And I'll give him that. I'll give it to him.
I mean, Spider-Man 2, you know,
Spider-Man's great. Well, Spider-Man, like, sometimes it gets like...
because the memes. Oh,
yeah,
the
Tobey
Maguire, the third movie that we all don't want to talk about, but it happened. Where emo's Tobey Maguire came out the gate. The hair was just there.
Yo, my friend Will Herring, I'm saying his name. He did the meanest shit to me when Spider-Man 3 came out. I hadn't seen any reviews yet for Spider-Man 3, and he had seen it and he called me. I was like, yo, what'd you think of it, man? And he's like, I'm not going to say, I want you to go in with your own point of view. And I was like, all right, because I was like so hyped to see the movie. And he's like, just wait till you get to the part where he says, now dig on this. And I was like, okay. And he said it with like no context. So in my head, I was like, okay, that's gonna be like a badass thing Sandman says, right? So like Sandman's gonna like be like drowning Spider-Man. He's gonna say, now dig on this, and then like drown him and shit. It's gonna be so badass and dope. And then I watched that part in that fucking movie, that Dr. Pepper ass having commercial and shit. I was like, what the fuck is? I was like, when he started snapping and like something died. And he started like,
hitting the jazz hands.
I was like, no.
It was dead.
No.
The movie died right there.
I knew something was off the moment, like, because the first movie had a special way of like that whole intro was very special. Yeah. Then for Spider-Man 2, Alex Ross did like the drawings.
Alex Ross.
Yeah, he did he did the drawings. It was basically like a previously on Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But it was all Alex Ross's paintings.
Interesting. Okay.
So I'm like, okay, cool, dope. Spider-Man 3, as soon as it opened, I'm like, wait, there's something kind of cheap about how they're doing this. Mm-hmm. Something's off. And then the whole intro, I'm like, something's off. I don't know what it is. This is off. And then Peter is getting picked on by other nerds that are nerdier looking than him.
Yeah.
When he's in college. And I'm like, something's off.
Right.
Something ain't like vibing well. And I'm like, okay, Harry Osborn, Green Goblin. Okay, this is cool. That's cool. This collection sequence. Then when that ended, I'm like, something's off. I don't know what it is. And then Sandman happened. I'm like, okay. I'm like, this is okay.
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, it's
not
good.
bad. It's
better
like
than I thought it'd be.
Yeah, I'm like, because I just remember like when Spider-Man started, you were like into it. The moment the movie started, you were into it. When Spider-Man 2 started, you were like, oh shit, like this dude's like fucking up at his job. And he's a superhero, and he's great at being. That's why I'm gonna be pitching my Spider-Man thing to Marvel, and my whole thing is. In order for Spider-Man to succeed, Peter Parker has to lose.
Yeah, no doubt.
And like
that's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, and like my whole Spider-Man story is basically like what happens if he's been Spider-Man for 15 years.
Some sort of like a Dark Knight type of thing.
Yeah, not even like it would be that, but it would be done like in a Spider-Man 2 way, where it's like things suck, but it's like kind of funny. Like I don't know what I'm gonna call it yet. I was either gonna call it it'd be Spider-Man on his 30th birthday. Okay. And he's still broke. And he's living at home with his aunt.
Okay, that makes sense.
And his aunt knows who he is. His aunt knows that he's Spider-Man. I was either going to call it Spider-Man 30, or I was going to call it Spider-Man Reunion, because we're going to integrate his high school reunion into this. And everyone's like kind of moved on a little in a way, and he's like this broke science substitute teacher living at home with his aunt still.
Who's still saving the world.
And he's still living in the world. And they can't say, hey, Peter, what's your biggest brag? And in his head, he's like, oh, I teamed up with the X-Men one time. But he can't say that. His biggest thing is like, he's like, oh, I worked at a research clinic with Dr. Kurt Connors before he went to jail. And now I'm a substitute teacher. And I used to have this Instagram for my Spider-Man pictures. But I'm not really making that much money off of residuals now, because everyone has pictures of Spider-Man now. Like this is 2018, 2017 Peter Parker.
Social media is booming. They're gonna have something on in the internet, of course.
And like that, so like it would just be about how's Peter
growing
Parker
pains.
Yeah, how's Peter Parker deal with being 30 and being Spider-Man?
Okay.
As if oh wow, that's a really interesting concept.
So now shifting gears here, because the reason we have you here is, of course, you written a comic book.
Oh yes,
you're a creator of a comic book.
I created a comic book
called Harriet Tubman Demon Slayer, which I like to call 19s, 20s, and 30s Blade. That's where like
she was giving Blade vibes.
1850s.
Yeah.
1850s Blade combined with Virgil from Devil May Cry. That's the way I see it, which is awesome. Great.
Thank you so much.
I've only read the first issue. I haven't read the second issue yet. But please, this is no spoiler. This show is not going to spoil the issue, because those who are listening,
I definitely want people to read and share and tell everybody.
She's a badass.
Illegal.
Badass.
She's illegal.
Yes.
Like, she was a character, illegal. In a video game, nope. If that's your main, I don't want to fight you.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Yep, not at all.
And she's 4'11".
Oh,
that's adorable.
See, the tiny ones you gotta worry about. It's the short ones you have to worry about.
I talked to all the artists. I'm like, yo, draw her like short. Make sure everyone is towering over her. The only person she's taller than is like children.
Yeah. So let me ask you. So why Harriet? Why Tubman? Why pick such a historical character?
Well, like it kind of just came to me out of nowhere. It really did. Like, I know when people say, "Oh, I had divine inspiration." that shit literally happened. So a bit of backstory. As you know, I'm an actor, and I had been auditioning a lot 1 year, and I was up for a few TV shows and a few movies, and I wasn't booking anything. And y'all don't. I was up for Orange Is the New Black, a part in that, and then I was up for the Steve McQueen TV show that never came out. Such a good script. I wish that it like came out. It was such a good script, and they actually filmed it, but nothing ever happened with it. And then I was up for that movie.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Most intense, scariest fucking audition of my life.
So you auditioned for Star Wars?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Well, no,
that's so intimidating.
I didn't know it was Star Wars.
Never gonna tell you.
Yeah.
No, like they tell you like at this
sci-fi fantasy.
Well,
no,
no,
something generic.
No. They said it was a J.J. Abrams war movie.
I mean, even saying J.J. Abrams is like
a
what?
Dead kind of giveaway.
Well,
right?
no, but J.J. Abrams produces a lot of stuff.
That's what I'm saying. But I mean, just the name itself. I'm saying just the name itself is like J.J. Abrams' way.
This is big.
This is a little intimidating.
Oh yeah, well, like he I think I had auditioned for something that was a TV pod that never actually came out that he was producing, and I had also I think he had it was a show called The Undercovers. I don't know if you heard it. It was out and like gone. It had like it had like Boris Cujo. I think Boris Cujo was in it, and another I forget this actress's name. I forget her name. She's a gorgeous black actress from like London. She's in it. They play like a married couple, and they find out they're both like secret agents and shit. It was basically Mr. and Mrs. Smith, but they're not trying to kill each other.
Oh, okay.
You know, and they find out that they're both like. They find out that they're both James Bond, and they're like, oh shit, we don't have to keep this a secret anymore and shit. And I was playing like the Q. I auditioned to play like the Q of that, who's like supplying all their shit. So I just went in and like I auditioned. I thought it was like an army like movie, and they had actually sides from Band of Brothers with Steven Spielberg. And what's it called? I just kind of went in and did like a general thing. And my manager called me back and said, hey, you have a callback for that Army movie. And I was like, okay, cool.
Okay, cool.
Like, so I went in and just did the same exact thing. It was only like 2 people in the room. And it's kind of like a room just like this. And it's, I was there where that chair is. And I like did like this like general like Army shit. And like, went and got my hair cut and faded so I could look like I was in the army and shit. And then my manager called me again. She's like, listen, you're going in again for this audition. There's a new script. I'm going to email you the sides for this audition. Sides like are just pieces of the script.
Yeah.
Your name is going to be on it. It's going to be watermarked on it. I'm like, okay, no big deal. I've auditioned like at this point. I mean, I've been acting and auditioning in New York City for like since 2007. But like, you know, I've been at this.
It's a grind, let me tell you.
It is. I'm like, oh, girl, calm down. Ain't that big of a deal. She's like, no. You're going to a different location this time, okay? And you have to be fully off. I'm like, what the fuck is her problem? What the hell? I'm like, yo, girl, you better calm that shit down over there.
Yeah, just making you all nervous for something I don't even know.
Yeah, making me nervous. And she wasn't like telling me anything too, so I was getting kind of like mad.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, relax. And she's like, okay. like breathing heavy and shit.
Hyperventilating here.
Like, yo, girl, if you don't calm this down. So I memorized the lines. It's like army shit, and I'm playing like a dude who's in the army, and I go to like a different location, like Union Square. And I take an elevator, and I'm just kind of like tired because I was up all night memorizing the lines and watching Walking Dead and shit. And like, I had some Popeyes and shit. I didn't think I had this audition, so I was like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna eat a bunch of chicken and biscuits." Oh, my man just calling. Oh, I have another callback. All right. So I'm just like all like tired. I'm like, oh, whatever. Yeah. I have the itis. I'm like, whatever. I can do like. Auditioning, I don't get now I don't get as like nervous or fucked up about it.
Yeah, because you've done it a few times.
I've done it a bunch of times.
Yeah.
And at the time I was also doing a lot of theater too, so I'm like, oh, it ain't nothing. It ain't no thing. So like I go up the elevator and the elevator door's like open and it says like Lucasfilm, and I was like,
Exactly.
I'm like, okay. And
This
I'm
is
like walking.
Okay.
This beautiful ass marble ass like room, and I'm like walking by. I'm like, bad robot. I'm like,
Uh-oh.
okay. Then like the most like this gorgeous redhead is like waiting like at the stairs, and she's like, Mr. Crownson, and I'm like, oh shit, she knows my name. What the fuck? I'm like, oh no. And she's like, hi, they're seeing someone right now. Could you please just have a seat on the couch, and can I get you anything to eat? I was like, word. You gonna give me some food? And she's like, yes. Like, of course we
Like,
feed
oh my God,
people.
Jean Grey is about to give me some food. What's going on here?
Like,
Phoenix
I'm
form.
like, yo, what's really, for real? Like Jean Grey in this Jessica Chastain in this motherfucker. So I'm just like, okay. So she brings like 9 things of water, like Fiji water, Smart water, and like a croissant and shit. It tastes delicious. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so good. I'm like eating.
I just ate chicken, but that's fun. I can't stop
I'm
eating.
like, I can't turn free shit down.
Yeah, starving actor, yo.
Like just I like worked at like I had like 3 jobs. So I was like, I'm gonna savor this shit. Just like take this Smart water, just put it in here. So then this other actor was like leaving, and this actor I recognized him. I was like, hey, wait, I've seen him on Broadway. I've seen that guy on Broadway. And that guy actually was Ray Fisher, who became fucking Cyborg. Because he was on at the time he was on Broadway playing Muhammad Ali.
Oh, that's just like that's his place. That's what he does.
Yeah. Justice League is his first movie. The first movie he's ever done.
Wow,
and
what
at
a
the time,
big.
he had done a shitload of theater, but everyone was all over him because of the Muhammad Ali play he was doing.
Yeah, okay.
And I was like, oh shit, that dude's auditioning. Oh fuck, I'm full of food.
Yeah.
Oh no, I thought I was auditioning for like a dumb little thing.
Yeah.
Oh no. So I go in, and before I walked in, like Jean Grey.
That's what he's gonna call it now, Jean Grey.
I'm gonna call her Jean Grey now. She's like, hey, you have to sign this. And I'm like, what is it? It's just for like behind the scenes if we ever decide to like put this footage on like the Blu-ray for the 10-year anniversary of this. I'm like,
What?
I'm like, oh fuck, it's Star Wars.
Yeah, that was right there.
I was like, oh fuck. I'm like, fuck yes, you can sign this. I'm like,
take it all.
So like I go in, and this time it's a bunch of people.
Oh.
So I was like, and they were like, hey, and I was like, fuck. and they were this was for a different part in the movie.
Okay.
It wasn't for Finn yet.
Okay. I figured as much. Okay.
So this was for, and this part's actually cut out of the movie. I don't know why it's not in the movie. This was when this is the beginning of the movie.
Okay.
And I was playing a guy in like a plane or some shit like that. I thought it was an RA movie. And the opening shot was like a guy who's nervous and his gun is shaking. Like sporadically, and I'm just like, hey man, what's going on? Are you nervous? And he's like, yeah, it's my first mission. I'm like, hey, I've been doing this for a long time, you know, it's no big deal. We're just gonna like secure this perimeter. But that wasn't like, I'm just paraphrasing.
Yeah, paraphrasing.
This was like
years ago,
6 years ago, I think. And I'm like, hey man, it's gonna be all right. I got your back and all this other stuff, and just stay behind me and all that stuff. All right? And he's like, okay. And then I get fucking shot, and I die, and I touch his helmet, and like his helmet's all bloody. And
that sounds familiar.
Yeah, and I say, I got your back, and I like die and shit.
Wait, where do we seen that?
That's the beginning of the movie. That's the stormtrooper.
That was the beginning.
The stormtrooper has lines. That stormtrooper.
That's crazy.
They have a whole conversation.
Wow.
They have a whole fucking conversation that is cut out.
I'm shook. I'm actually shook.
They have a whole conversation that is completely cut out of the movie.
Okay.
I don't know why it's cut out of the movie.
That was humanized one other stormtrooper.
Yeah.
Other than Finn.
Yeah, it makes sense. Like, oh, this is why he deserts them.
Okay.
Because like.
Oh snap!
Yeah, so like it makes sense. I don't know why it's.
Well, yeah, because he sees it and he sees like, oh, he's shook, and you know, that's like the whole point of the movie.
And you know what?
He starts getting shook throughout the entire him being in the actual stormtrooper thing.
Yeah,
wow.
Yes.
Okay.
The biggest criticism of making Finn this lone, very humane stormtrooper is like, why would he rebel now?
Yeah, yeah.
He's killed a million people probably. He's probably shot down so many people. What was about this guy? He said like, oh my gosh, he spoke to me and he had a whole story, and that could have been the
No, I was like,
boost.
and I was like just a dude, and I was like,
wow.
And they're surprised, like, wow, you made him really likable, and I was like, I'm like, it's a stormtrooper, oh shit. I was like, oh fuck.
It's one of those things, like even those side characters, the extra stormtrooper, you want to be a stormtrooper.
Oh yeah.
And at first I was confused. I was like, why is there a stormtrooper? I was like really, because I was confused. I'm like, wait, are stormtroopers in this? Like, wow. I was like really confused. So I did like 2 takes of that, and they were like, that was really good. And then they said, can you hang out for a minute? And I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. And I'm just like hanging out, and they say, hey, can you wait outside? I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. And they're just like all talking and shit. And then they're like, Jean. So they call Jean Grey in, and then Jean Grey and this other guy comes out, and they're like, hey, we really like the work you did. Can you come back again tomorrow? And I was like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, I can come in
They're thinning
tomorrow.
out the herd now. They're narrowing out the people,
Yeah.
which is good, which is
But-
great.
But this time they wanted to see me come in and play Finn.
Oh.
They said, well, they didn't say like, they didn't say Finn. They said one of the leads.
Okay.
And like I appeared, I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. But inside I was like, holy shit!
Well, yeah.
I
That's how
would
it's
have did
gonna be.
cartwheels up here, like
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was just
like
like,
crazy.
I was like, yeah, sure, no
Internally
problem.
screaming.
Oh yeah. I was like,
Yo.
ah! So my manager like calls me, and like it's different sides, and this it's 2 sides. One of him meeting Ray for the first time, but they completely rewrote it. It's something totally different. It's not. I kind of hate how it is in the movie.
Yeah.
I don't like this whole, hey, you got a boyfriend? Yeah, like, I'm like,
Yeah,
what
he
the
was
fuck?
kind of thirsty, and
Yeah.
that wasn't for me.
I'm like, yo, man, calm the fuck down.
Tall glass of water.
Calm the fuck down.
For real.
Thirsty. And then the next one that they actually kept was him meeting Maz, freaking Orange Yoda, whatever. Lupita Nyong'o's freaking character.
The little
Gotcha.
tangerine
Yeah,
character.
yeah.
Tangerine character.
Little girl, yeah.
And he
the
like
little
gets mad. And he's the old lady and shit.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, what's this? He's like, a story for another time. I'm like, sequel.
I think it's a waste of Lupita, to be honest with you, to have her as like a CGI character. Like,
Yeah.
when they said Lupita was casted, I'm like, oh,
Yeah, I thought she was gonna be like a Sith or something like that.
gonna be like something where we get to see her.
Oh yeah, I thought that too. But
It was
like,
just disappointing. They just made her this
they made her something else. And
little creature instead of
Yeah.
having her as a character.
yeah,
Which
you
really
know,
sucks.
It really, actually, I think she was fleshed out more.
Yeah.
She had more stuff to do, and she even had like powers and shit in it. Like the whole scene was with her, and it's me being like pissed off at her, being like, "Yo, fuck you, you don't know me," and shit. And she's like, "I've seen your eyes." I'm like, "Bitch, no, you haven't." And like, I was like, when I was rehearsing with my friend, he's like, "You can't say bitch." I'm like, "Yo, wouldn't that be funny if I like fucked up and like said bitch?" And then
And everyone started bursting laughing.
yeah,
And, I like that.
And we were like laughing, and then like. And then my manager called me, and they were like, "Hey, how's it going?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm just rehearsing." And like, wouldn't it be funny if I said bitch in it? Ha ha ha. And she's like, "Don't actually do that." I'm like, "Why?" He's like, "The Disney people are going to be there this time." I'm like,
It's
"What
something
the
that we
fuck are you
spoke about earlier.
We
Yep.
talked
I'm
about
like, "Why are you
Disney.
psyching me out and shit?"
Yeah.
I'm like,
Just
so I
giving you
got,
bad juju.
I'm like, "Yo, shut the fuck up." So like, bad juju and shit.
Yeah.
So I'm like, the fuck is this shit? So, but still, like, when you're auditioning, it's really like, it's I believe there's nervousness and excitement are the same thing.
They're the
They're cousins.
they're two sides of the same
Yeah.
coin.
I think they're the same energy, but it's how you express them both.
There you go.
It's the type of lens you put on the
To
screen.
get channel
Yeah.
that nervousness into excitement.
Exactly. Like
Yeah.
I think nervousness is more like huddled, and it's more like you're in a shell. And I think excitement is when it's like raised, and you're like, "Hey, what's up? Look at me, motherfucker! I'm ready to go on this. I'm ready to go on this motherfucking roller." I'm sorry for cursing.
No, it's fine. It's
I'm
fine.
I'm sorry for cursing on this motherfucking roller coaster. I'm like,
This is the darker hour. It's fine.
the darker hour, or the darkened hour. Excuse me.
It's fine.
So yeah, I go in, and you know, I just do it, but there's like more people.
Okay.
And usually when you walk into an audition, you would shake people's hands and be like, "Hi, I'm like, I ain't doing that shit." I'm like y'all get a, "Hey, what's up? I'm David." And like
start doing this.
And you really just want to there's something like Leonardo DiCaprio is one of my favorite actors. He just said something and it helped me a lot, especially with that audition. He was like, don't go in trying to impress people, or you know, don't go in there trying to be friends with people. Just go in there, just like, because he would audition for, I think Leonardo DiCaprio said he was auditioning for a year when he was like 13, and he didn't get anything, and he's like, you know what? Fuck these people. I'm just gonna go in there and just do my work as an actor.
It's your job. It's your work.
I'm not gonna.
Your job.
I'm not gonna try and charm them. And be like, "Hi, I'm Leo." Like he said, he would go in and be like, "Hi, I'm Leo. I like science." He would try and charm people and shit. He's like, "No, let me just come in and just act."
Yeah.
So I just like went in there and was nice and like, "Hey, I'm like, thank you for taking the time to see me. I really appreciate it. This is an honor." And all that shit. And you know, I went in there and I, you know, did both scenes. And then they gave me some direction. Then they all were like talking all quiet amongst themselves.
Which normally happens when casting calls and stuff like that. It's the most thing ever, you know. When
and you have to like detach yourself from it and just be like, I mean, at the time, like I was really like fucked up and stuff because they would be like, "Hey, can you go out in the room?" And like I would, because at this time, like guys, I was working at like Equinox, the gym, and I was working at like an office, and I was working catering jobs, and I would look and I would see like, oh, there's future Cyborg coming into audition, and I didn't know he was Cyborg at the time.
Yeah.
And then what's his name? Another actor, I forget his name, but he was Flash in Spider-Man: Homecoming. He also auditioned for the same part.
Oh.
I forget his name. Damn it. Look it up now. But he was. I was like, hey, that's the dude from Dope. I was like, oh shit.
Oh, that kid.
Yeah, and I was like, oh shit. And then I'm like, oh, like these guys have been in shit, and then like
real stuff,
and I'm like, here I am. But then I was like, no, like, yes, they've been in shit, and I'm like, I've only been like auditioning for stuff, but these are still like human beings.
Oh, absolutely.
These guys still, you know, shit the same color, bleed the same
Anybody
color.
who's trying to do production jobs, man, it'd be film, acting, whatever it is. Good advice. Cause we can easily get intimidated by the waves and waves of people who had resumes and who has good stuff on their resumes. And you want to listen. You guys just got to go through it.
Also, to ring it back to Demon Slayer.
Oh fuck! So
yeah.
Oh no, I basically okay. So
this has been enlightening, but yes.
Oh, okay. So I don't get the part in spoiler alert. I don't get the part in fucking Star Wars. I don't get the fucking part in Star Wars. I'm all fucked up over it for like a month, and I'm all stressed out because I'm working 3 fucking jobs and I can't afford this fucking apartment in motherfucking Harlem. Sorry for cursing. So my mom's like, yo, you need to take a motherfucking mom didn't say that, but my mom was like, yo, you need to take a motherfucking vision quest and like go to Africa and shit. And I was like, oh shit, mom, you're right. So I'm like, yo, I'm out New York, peace out Harlem. I moved to Africa for 4 months. I quit my jobs. Fuck everything. Moved to Africa. And I'm chilling. Do it, by the way. Go to Africa.
I feel like that's on my bucket list.
Yes. So I lived in Africa for like 4 months, lived with my family, and just chilled out. And I was watching TV, and a Harriet Tubman biography documentary came on. I was like, oh shit, my hero, my Shiro, Harriet Tubman.
Nice.
And because I did like a book report on Harriet Tubman when I was like in 3rd grade. And so I'm like, oh, cool, finding out all this stuff about her. And then there was a commercial break. And in Africa, or at least in Ghana, West Africa, the commercial breaks are like 10 minutes long. Like 10
That's obnoxious.
That's ridiculous.
No. It can be obnoxious, but it can also be like hilarious.
Oh, I can imagine.
Like, you know how we have like a person who does voices who's like, he does like the movie trailer voice that goes like in a world
with
But imagine
everything is the same.
Yes.
Yeah.
Imagine like the African equivalent of that.
Yes.
Like, yo,
I gotta see this.
I was watching. Okay, so in Africa, everything is they're behind on television, and I think all the movies are up to date, but television they're really behind. Like I was there in 2015, and I saw a trailer and it was like, tune in tonight
to the series premiere of 24. What is Jack Bauer going to do? Find out tonight.
Like that was the thing, and then it was like,
What is Clark Kent going to do? Find out tonight on Smallville.
2014.
Boom, bam, way.
like that. Like that's how it works and shit.
Goodness.
So for like 5 minutes, that's like hilarious and like fun for like 5 minutes, and then I'm
yeah.
like, all right, they're right.
Can we get to the show?
Can we get to the fucking thing? So
Yeah.
I would channel surf a lot.
Okay.
And then Crouch Tiger Hidden Dragon came on. I was like, oh shit, I'm about to be up in this movie. What's Crouch Tiger Hidden Dragon? It was the last scene. Have you guys seen Crouch?
Yeah.
Yes,
Tiger
yes,
Hidden
yes,
Dragon?
yes, yes.
And this was the last scene where it's Michelle Yeoh versus Zhang Zi.
Uh-huh,
And they're
uh-huh.
having their big epic ass sword fight,
Yes.
right? And it's fucking dope.
Uh-huh.
And then that movie ends and commercial break, and I'm channel surfing, and then Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunter came on, and I was like, oh shit, I'm about
Pretty
to be
good.
up in this and watch this. I hate the movie. I just like Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunter. I'm sorry, I don't like it. So Hansel and Gretel, so I was like, oh, that's kind of disappointing. Like, it was such a cool idea. It's such a cool concept. There's so much stuff you could
Poorly
do.
executed.
Yeah, in my opinion, it was poorly executed.
That's fair.
So later on that night, I'm just doing a journal entry of like, everything that I've like watched. I was doing like my own like little, because this trip was like my eat, pray, love for black men and shit. And like, so I'm just writing down. I was like, watched Harriet Tubman documentary, badass sword fight scene, Crouch Tiger Hidden Dragon, Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunter.
All that started to match together. So
Yeah, and then I was like, and then I just like looked at it, and then I was like, I saw Harriet Tubman, badass katana sword fight scene, Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters, and then I was just like, Harriet Tubman Demon Slayer. It literally happened just like that. Some people,
off a whim, if you will, like it was just like, oh, okay,
Oh,
it's
this is
there.
a thing now.
Boom,
yeah,
it's a thing.
I'm
Yeah.
like it was just like that's how it happened. Some people like think they're like, oh, all you did was do Abraham Lincoln, and I'm aware Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter like
Which I have
existed.
yet to see the movie, by the way.
I've seen it.
I haven't seen it just because of what I'm working on right now. I haven't.
Right, you don't wanna be influenced.
I don't want to be influenced, and I know. Well, I found this out like much later. Like other people have done like Harriet Tubman action adventure.
Have not known that.
Yeah, and I didn't know it either.
Interesting.
My friend was just like, "Hey, did you know someone else did this?" This is the last day of my Kickstarter for Harriet Tubman.
Oh,
Demon
no
Slayer
way, no way.
that I
Tight.
found out, and at first, but I think it was good. I was like, "Oh, okay." Like it was a nice humbling thing.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know, because
yeah.
at first I was like, "Yeah, I did some original shit,"
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
my friend's like, "Hey." Sent me a link, and I was like, fuck. But like, contextually a similar like action adventure, but I never read the book. I just saw like the content. It was different. This person was doing a very serious thing. My inspirations were like Django and Buffy.
Yes.
Those were my inspirations.
Yes.
And like and as far as the kinetic, especially issue 2, the kinetic energy of Mad Max Fury Road and Star Wars were my inspirations.
See, you're getting me hyped for issue 2, man.
Yo.
I gotta read this.
Get on it.
It's
Yes.
fun.
I read that at work. Like I
Did
wasn't
you?
playing. Like I was like going from window to window.
I'll
like
get it right
trying
after the show. I'll buy it right after the show. I gotta.
Yes. I got copies in my car if you want it. So
No problem.
But I wanna give for this. I wanna like I
Put
don't
my
want it for free.
coins.
I wanna put my coins in this because
yo,
this
you got $4? Come on. Anywho, so anywho,
I got some cash on me. Hold up.
so you can PayPal or whatever. Anywho, so what happened? So I come back from Africa. Everything's great. And I had like I was writing and directing other stuff for myself.
Okay.
And after traveling, I just kind of I never wrote. I didn't really write much. I was actually that's not true. I was writing a Ultimate Spider-Man Miles Morales fanimation thing that I was going to launch on Kickstarter, and I was getting ready to do the Kickstarter for that, and like had all the actors cast, had all the voice actors together, and then like it was announced that like Marvel had acquired Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And then we got this nice letter saying like, hey,
cease and desist.
you got to shut that bullshit down.
Oh yeah.
And like,
sucks,
you need
man.
to shut this. We love what you're doing, but you need to shut this shit down.
That
Or talk to our
sucks.
team of lawyers. Have
Or-
no problem.
Pretty
we will send the Avengers up in this bitch, motherfucker.
And if
We
you
will-
want to
we will-
continue that, we have to buy that off of you so it can be our property.
Yeah, it's
You
like,
don't
yeah,
wanna go through that.
like you don't want to get sued. You don't want to Serious, dude.
No way.
And like I just thought like it was just me being a fan. I just love Miles Morales too, and I had like, a cool.
Miles Morales, yeah.
Man, I was talking. It was like in development. Like I was talking to Moy Animation. They do Young Justice and all that shit. Yeah. And I wanted them to animate my like Spider-Man Miles Morales thing, and it was gonna cost me a shitload of money. So I was getting the Kickstarter all together and all this shit, and it was really stressful. Then like the cease and desist thing happened. I was like, fuck. But then I was working on writing and creating my own stuff to showcase myself as an actor as well. Like I had this funny idea. This funny show called Black Irish. That
yes, on YouTube Red.
Yes, I'm trying to have it come on YouTube Red.
Yes.
It's,
if anything, you'd be the only reason why I would go for YouTube Red. If you do that, you'd
for
be
real,
the
about to
only
get a
reason
subscription
why I
right
would
now.
do it. Absolutely. No.
You hear that, YouTube Red? Where's my motherfucking money?
You'd be the only reason why I would go to YouTube Red.
Thank you.
And you want me
you
over
hear
the
that?
book. Absolutely.
You hear that, YouTube Red?
Yep.
Where's my motherfucking money?
Bitch better have my money.
Yeah,
Bitch better have my money.
Where's my money, Lebowski?
Don't act like you forgot.
Where's my money, Lebowski?
Yeah.
You know?
but
no. So yeah, I was working on Black Irish. I'll pitch that way later. It's really funny. I think it's really funny. But I thought Harriet Tubman Demon Hunter was a cool, funny thing. And I couldn't get the image out of my head of Harriet Tubman, this 4'11" person, like suffers epileptic seizures and all that stuff. And
oh my God.
And like, what if she like knew martial arts and could like kick the?
She doesn't.
No.
What?
No. In my comic book,
Okay,
she does.
okay.
she does. No, she's like a complete.
Oh yeah, in my comic book,
I mean, that's what I'm asking, because this is in the context of the comic book. She does, so she does.
Oh yeah, she does in my
Okay,
comic
good,
book. So
good.
I'm like, what if like in real life? What if?
Oh, okay.
No. But I mean, like, what if?
Imagine.
I was like thinking about the comic. I was like, yo, that'd be cool if like she knew martial arts, and like I just had this image of her like fighting a werewolf and shit, and she had like katanas and shit.
Yeah.
And could fuck you up, but like, and she wasn't like. Sorry, Robert Kirkman. She's not like Michonne, who's just like a girl with a sword who can swing it kind of good. She's a skilled, and she's a skilled fighter, and even without katana, she could still like fuck you up.
She wrecks house. I will say
she will like ruin your world. If you like cross her, but also she'd be like nice about it. She'd be like,
she's got that little
She's
drawl,
an adorable,
cutesy
type.
I like the little bandana that she has.
Yes,
that's adorable.
yes.
Well, I mean, that's a thing. I mean,
yeah.
That's like what she was known for.
Wearing the headscarf and stuff.
And like, can you imagine?
I loved it.
Thank you. I just imagine like, what if like it's like a vampire or a demon like on her face and like, but she wasn't like scared at all.
Yeah.
Just she was like kind of like calm and like relaxed and like in control of the situation. And
completely.
This is a 4'11" black woman. They're like, and the other slaves are like, what the fuck? How come she's so calm? And then she like aces them, and I was just like, so I made a logo, and I said, hey guys, I'm writing this thing. I put it on Facebook. I got like a few likes, and then I met digitally the illustrator of issue 1, Cortland Ellis.
Yes.
And I just said, hey man, I have this idea for a comic book. And he's like, oh, well, what's it about? I'm like, oh, it's called Harriet Tubman Demon Hunter. He's like, we're gonna get in trouble. I'm like,
we're gonna get in trouble.
I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I'm like, let's do this shit. I got suspended from high school in 7th grade. Fuck that shit. Let's do this.
I'm a badass.
Real badass over here.
I'm a badass. I got Saturday detention.
Yeah, right.
for being late to language and literature, AP. No, it wasn't AP. But anywho, so he drew the cover for issue 1, where he's like, what do you want it to look like? I said,
like
okay.
Close up with the
Yeah. I said, I want it to be Harriet Tubman looking at us, but like really intense. And I want katanas crossing over her face like an X. And I want a reflection of like within the katanas like demons, witches, vampires.
That's great.
He's like, but do whatever you want, just go crazy with it. And he's like, cool. I'll have it to you in 2 weeks. So like he comes back and he's like, what do you think of this? And I was like, okay, like it wasn't complete yet. And I said, okay, I think you should do I said make her head more like diamond shaped, and the visual inspirations for the comic were Whoopi Goldberg from the 80s and like Jumpin' Jack Flash and Taraji P. Henson, because we were also like going into like anime
Yeah,
with it, and we were like, yo, like Taraji P. Henson has like Japanese like anime expressive eyes, like she has giant expressive eyes.
She does.
Yeah, and Eartha Kitt.
Nice.
Those were all the inspirations.
I
for
feel that.
creating her.
Yeah.
I feel that.
So and then he like launched. He showed me. I was like, oh,
This is it.
I'm like, this is it. And I kept it a secret for a little bit, and then I dropped it in July. Just like said, hey, like, you know, guys, I wrote this comic book. Here's the cover of issue 1. Hope you all like it. And I turned off my phone because I had to drive my mom somewhere. And I drove my mom somewhere, and I came back home, and I turned my phone back on. I had a bunch of new notifications. And I was like, oh, fuck, someone hacked my account. I'm like, shit. Because I had, like, sometimes my friends, we would hack each other's accounts. I've never hacked anyone's account. I've had my account hacked.
For the record.
Yeah,
for the record.
Yeah, like, my friend, like, hacked my account and said, like, you know, I worship Satan's dick or something like that. And, like, put a bunch of, like...
what a dick.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
Yeah, no pun intended.
No pun intended.
He put like a bunch of like
smiley faces,
like
hearts.
hearts and like you know the only he's like,
what are friends for?
He's like, I'm gay, but not for people. I'm gay for Satan. And like my friend like put that on my fucking like thing. I'm like, what the fuck is your problem?
Yo,
all these
square up.
Yeah, and I'm like, yo, I'm about to kill you.
I'm about to be your Harriet Tubman.
I'm about to freaking slay your ass really quick. Shit. Yes, we slay. Shit. So I'm not really friends with that person anymore.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I'm like that's kind of far. So I'm like, fuck, someone hacked my account.
Yeah.
And then but it was everyone talking about my comic book and resharing my comic book. Yeah. And then it was on Twitter, then it was on Instagram, and I was like, oh shit, like it's everywhere.
It was getting traction around.
Yeah, it was getting a lot of traction. Then some people were like, yo, fuck, like I got mad because it was some black people too. They're like, yo, this is offensive. Fuck this comic book and fuck David Crownson. I was like, oh, that's me. I'm like, oh shit, I've never had like strangers talk about me.
Now that's good because, you know, publicity.
But you have heard of me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Publicity.
Me and Marv were talking about, but you have heard of me.
Yeah, it's publicity.
My name is in your mouth, so.
Right.
Oh yeah, this is true. I'm like, wow, like they are saying my name like Destiny's Child, and like, so like, and I at the time like, you know, I'm not used to, maybe famous, whatever, but like I saw it was like 700 people were talking about it, and 180 people were like, fuck him.
Wow.
And I was like, oh shit. And like, I got nervous because that's kind of like a dumb thing. Like, and my friend was trying to say, hey man, some famous people have to deal with that shit.
Yeah.
That's the
There are
reality.
people, that's like a reality. You have to develop some things too. So I was like, maybe I shouldn't do this because some people said it sucked. Maybe I shouldn't do it. Then my friend, I bumped into my friend at the grocery store who I hadn't seen in weeks. She's like, hey, I saw your comic book. And I was like, you did? And she's like, I think it's great, honey. You should do it. Do that comic book of Harriet Tubman slaying those demons.
Out of every 100 negative, it only takes that one positive.
To be like, yeah, let me keep doing this.
You know what? I'm gonna keep on doing this.
Exactly. And what was crazy was over 700 something people said, hey, this is great, but only like 100 and something said this kind of sucks. And then to speak to that cynicism or resignation, you know, like I'm like, oh, it's only a few people. More people are saying it's good.
Yeah,
exactly.
You know? So, anywho, a few months later, I'm sorry for making your podcast really long.
No, that's fine.
Fine.
This is totally okay. Trust me, this is fine.
Good.
So, anywho, a few months later, I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to do this because it costs money to do a comic book. Yeah. It like Cortland, you know, he's like 100 and something a page. You know, and I was like broke as shit at the time, and I was like, how am I gonna like pay him? And everyone loves his comic book. What should I do? And my friends were saying like, you should do a Kickstarter.
Yes.
And I'm like, and I was that anxiety came back of me being like in high school or in middle school, like public failure and ridicule, because I've seen Kickstarters like not go well.
Yeah,
and I've seen Kickstarters fail. So I was like, no, I'm not doing a fucking Kickstarter. I'm gonna like find an investor and like, I'll like take it from there. So, what happened? So then on November 8th, 2016, I was
tight right in the background.
yes. Let's just it was a political event in America that I was not excited about.
Many people weren't.
I was not happy with the results of the political event.
Yes.
Try not to say election. Fuck it. The election. So and like my one friend called me and she was like crying and shit. And she's like, "This is terrible. This is awful. A terrible thing happened. Terrible thing happened." She's like, "I've been crying all night." And all of my friends who called me were all my boss lady friends, and they all like mentioned like, "Hey, like when's that fucking comic book coming out?"
Yeah, now.
And I'm like,
pertinent.
I said at the time I was like, "Oh, Hillary gonna be president. Wonder Woman coming out. Y'all don't need my shit." Then like I can take my time. I'll take my time and like I'll research it more and get it perfect. Issue 1 is done, but I want to like really research and delve deep. And then like she was like, "No, we need this fucking book right now.
Yeah.
You need to get this book out there right the fuck now." I'm like, "I don't have any money." And she was like, "Negro, if you almost start a Kickstarter." And I was like, but I'm scared. It's like, you will get that money. Do it now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, if Tia,
Yeah.
Josh, if you ever decide to do a Kickstarter, never drop it during the Christmas season. It's a terrible time to do it.
I figured.
Point taken.
Drop your Kickstarter in the late spring, early fall, sometimes in the summertime. I dropped this Kickstarter on Cyber Monday for Harriet Tubman Demon Hunter.
Oh my goodness.
And like at the time, I like Cortland was like, "This is a bad idea. You should just fucking wait."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Nah, fuck that shit. I'm gonna drop it on Cyber Monday because that's how the fuck I roll." He's like, "No, just wait until like February or like wait until March, man. Like don't do it. It's a bad idea." I'm like, "No, fuck that shit. I'm dropping on Cyber Monday because everyone's gonna stupid. Everyone's gonna be on the internet on Cyber Monday, so that's when I'm gonna drop that shit." And you know, I was like, "All right, I'll do 15,000 just to get the first 2 issues out. Maybe I can get a 3rd issue if I overreach a goal." And then so I drop it, and like we didn't make any money the first week. I think we made like $180 in like 3 hours, and I was like, "Oh shit!" And then Cortland was like, "This is a terrible idea. You should cut it now." And then I was like, "No, as long as we make $4,000 a week, I think we can do it." He's like, "Really, nigga? Really, nigga?" He's like, "Really, nigga, with this $4,000 a week?" He's like, just freaking out. He's like, "Really, nigga, $4,000 a week? Shit. Yeah, the whole numbers and everything." I'm like, "Trust me, I think." And I even though it was a crazy time, I wasn't paying attention to the statistics of like, or the reality of like, you should wait. I just felt that it had to be done now. Yeah. And I felt it was my definite major purpose that this get out there and this get done, and like fuck everything else. And it became sometimes you have to like Batman Begins that shit.
Yeah,
and
you just have to get out. You have to go
and like go. Yeah. Just be very like single-minded and be very focused, but also having a good time with it, and just doing it not with like intense, "I'm going to kill you," but just like putting your love out there and just pouring love into what you're doing, and just seeking it with passion. And from that will come urgency, and from that will come energy, you know. Because at first I was like, "How am I going to do this?" And I'm emailing everyone that I know, and I'm like, "Oh shit, I'm an actor. I should use my networks and stuff."
You're preaching to the oh my goodness, you're preaching to me. This is great. This is good. You know.
No, but like you just really have to just go after it unapologetically,
right?
With all the love in your heart, and be unmessable with.
Yeah.
Like, if someone says something like, I was getting like some hate mail at the time, and some people were like, "Fuck you for doing this comic book. You're a piece of shit. How dare you do this fucking comic book?" And I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna let you have your miserable shit over there. I'm gonna stand in awesomeness right over here. So I'm gonna have a conversation with you." Yeah. I'm like, "So why do you think this is a bad idea?" They're like, "It just is." I'm like, "Well, this is a waste of my energy and doesn't really push the conversation. You should just done a comic book about Harriet Tubman's real life." I'm like, "Well, anyone can do a comic book about Harriet Tubman's real life.
We can read books that exist.
We can read books. No one's writing a comic book about Harriet Tubman being a martial artist and fighting."
And I think there's a lot of strength in doing the historical revisionist attitude about Harriet Tubman and bringing her into a conversation. Harriet Tubman was supposed to be on the $20 bill, and take Andrew Jackson's old dusty ass off of it and have like a real American Revolutionary on it and whatnot.
Yeah,
so
everyone's telling me like, yo, you gotta do it, Andrew Jackson versus Harriet Tubman. Everyone's like, you gotta do that.
We got something here.
And I'm like,
that's a hell of an arc, though. I'm not gonna lie to you, it's a hell of an arc.
Do we have something? Spoiler one. Do we have something here? Come on, man. Make this happen.
Okay,
this is a wet dream.
There's going to be 13 issues of Harriet Tubman.
Okay, I was just going to ask that as well.
There's going to be 13 issues. Andrew Jackson isn't in that rendition.
Okay.
Because I've already outlined it and spent a lot of time on it. But I do want to do like, when that 13 issue arc is done, I want to do like other crossovers.
Ooh, okay.
There's one crossover,
like one shots, if you will.
I want to do. I really wanted to do. Okay, well, Dark Horse Comics. I pitched Harriet Tubman to them.
Perfect.
Oh, that's a good
company.
Good place.
Unfortunately, they did pass on us.
Okay. Okay.
So they passed on us, and I was like, fuck, because I had this idea of like 13 issues in, at the end of like the final issue, it flashes forward to like present day, and it's a woman reading a book, and the woman's teaching a history class, and she closes the book, and the next panel it's Buffy, and she's like, that's the story of the first American Slayer. It takes place in the same world as Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Harriet Tubman Demon Slayer was going to be like the ultimate prequel to Buffy.
Interesting.
And I was gonna do and that was it. I wasn't gonna like tie them in. I was gonna do a thing. You heard it first, but it can't happen because Dark Horse said no. Oh well. I was gonna do a one shot where it ended up being I was gonna do a one shot where Harriet Tubman bumps into Angel, but he's evil, and like, but they're forced to like team up and work together, even though she's like, you're a fucking vampire, you're a piece of shit.
That blade mentality.
Like, and I need to kill you, and he's like, you're a slayer, and she's like, what? I don't call her a slayer in it. I call her she's considered the anointed, because it's been overdone to say the chosen one. Like I just thought, okay, what hasn't been said. I'm like the anointed. So like she's like, what?
What's the Slayer? What does that
mean? He's like, what is that? He's like, well, that's what you are. He's like, no, I'm anointed, and Angel's like, what? So like it would be like a fun little thing, but
Dark Horse missed out.
Yeah, Dark Horse.
That's a great pitch.
I mean, there's other companies.
There's so
Dynamite.
many.
There's Boom.
There's I think there's other places here about Aftershock Comics, Stranger Comics. I talked about.
I've pitched this. I don't. This is on camera. I don't want people to. I'll tell you when the cameras are off.
Okay,
some of these stories off the record.
Off the
no
record.
Doubt.
But if Dark Horse does come back and they're like, hey, we changed our mind and all that shit, and I end up signing with them, we have to edit this part.
No,
I'm way ahead of you.
For real, no problem.
Just because of spoilers. But anywho, like I just really went out with the Kickstarter, and I was tweeting it to some celebrity, people that are of influence in the industry,
right?
And like Emily Carmichael, who's now a good friend of mine, she co-wrote Pacific Rim 2, and she's directing another movie right now. And she was like, "This looks cool," and she like retweeting is a big ass deal. If you get someone,
Twitter's a thing right now,
to retweet your stuff to thousands of their viewers, like, and then we made $5,000 that week. Ha ha, Cortland. Told you to listen to me. I love you, Cortland. But yeah, like, so we made $5,000 in a week. Okay. And then I'm like, we got to keep going. And I just kept going. And then we actually made another $5,000 within 2 days. Wow. And we actually reached our goal like 2 weeks before like the end.
Okay.
And then it was like, we hit 15,400, and the goal was 15,000, and we hit it. I was like, holy shit! It happened,
yeah.
And like, it was a crazy time. And I was kind of going through like a weird like breakup thing at the time, so
yeah.
it was like
real life hit.
Happy,
so
but
I was like, wow, bittersweet, but like this is cool and shit. So, and like we ended up raising about like $21,000.
Nice.
Well, we lost some of it because some people, when they pledged, they didn't have the money in their account, and a lot of shit declined. But it's okay. We still had, I think we had like think 17, 18,000.
Okay.
Still.
No, but you still made your goal.
You still made your goal.
I still made my goal because if you don't make your goal, Kickstarter charges you like a fee.
Yeah.
And you're already, and on top of that, you're already getting like fees and taxes taken out of it.
Right.
So like the 21,000 would have equaled out to like it still would have been like 21,000, but the hundreds would have been like it would have been 21 even. But like a lot of people, like their debit cards declined and all that shit, and a lot of people were like, hey man, sorry about that, I forgot, and all that shit. Or some people said, hey man, sorry, it was Christmas, my bad. And,
true.
You know, so yeah, that happened, and you know, we wrote the comic. I wrote the comic and collaborated with, you know,
you have a nice mixed pot here with a lot of, you know, you have a lot of people who worked in DC, Marvel, Image, Dynamite, and it's impressive. It's like I was like, wow, this is great.
So this person's been here.
We got Joey Vasquez, who's worked for Marvel, and he recently did the X-Men comics. He did X-Men Blue, and Josh Burcham, he's colored Samurai Jack and all the Transformers comics and a bunch of DC comics.
Wow.
Cortland's background is mainly animation. And he just like, you know, he's only done like a few comic books that he's created himself, that he has like a Patreon thing going on.
Okay.
And I just loved his work, and I said, hey, we gotta work together. And I was gonna have him do the whole series, but he's like, but Cortland, he draws, inks, colors, and he does all the lettering.
He's a one-man team, it seems like.
Yeah.
That is...
Issue 1 was all him.
What? Okay, I was going to ask, because I didn't see anyone else.
Yeah,
the letterer.
Yeah,
or
issue 1 is all Cortland.
That's impressive.
And then when issue 2 was happening, like, I stopped writing just to do the Kickstarter.
Okay.
And so at the time I was like, oh shit, I gotta like write issue 2 and give it to Joey so Joey can start drawing it. And so issue 1 and issue 2 were being drawn at the same time.
Wow.
And I was nervous. I was like, oh shit, continuity. So, but
but also it's a huge thing.
But as an artist, and I kind of like, this is why like I like the Marvel movies and like these universe movies.
Yeah.
I had to like recreate my characters.
Yeah.
And I hate the term like, I had to re-explain. I had to just recreate them through Joey's eyes now. And
because now you work with a different illustrator now.
Like Cortland has his like way of working, and Joey has his like very like Marvel way of working.
And you can tell the difference between the art.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at the covers. You know, covers and what's actually inside the actual comic books are two different people. Do it. Yeah. But I'm looking at the covers and I'm like, okay, these are two different distinct illustrators. So.
Yeah. And also like, because everyone was like, I want Cortland to draw the whole entire 13 issue thing. And Cortland at the time had, you know, gotten married, and his wife was having their first child, and he was buying a house. And I'm like, okay, I got it. So you do issue 1 and I'll have him draw issue 2. So like they were both doing it at the same time. Ooh. And well, actually, I took a minute to write issue 2 because I know how the whole series ended. I knew each issue. So I'm like, oh fuck, I didn't like write issue 2 yet. So I took a minute, and I got nervous because issue 1 took me a long time to do, because I also had to like teach myself how to write in script for a comic book. Yeah, which is another different thing. Because when you write a regular script, you
script with you know, in terms of whether we go for a feature or something a little shorter than that, it's completely. I mean, there's a lot of similarities. No doubt about that. When it comes to a comic book, I mean,
a comic book, it's like you really have to draw like he extended his hand.
Yep. Whereas in a script, it's just like you can't put that stuff in.
And he's joyful while extending his hand. And
you got to put the notations of the panels and double page spread on what you want. You're being a DP while writing a script at the exact same time.
Exactly.
At some points, yeah.
It's like you're directing and all this other stuff, and you have to. You can't be over descriptive because it'll like dull their imagination and it'll make them bored. But you can't be like under descriptive.
Where they're just like, I don't know what to do.
They're like, what the fuck do you want?
Whereas in a movie scripts, you can't be too descriptive because like, at the end of the day, it's the director's vision.
Exactly. exactly.
And that's a big no-no, especially with film.
Yeah, but with this, like, you're everything, the writer, director, and all this stuff, and like they're almost like your actors, and you have to kind of micro. But I would just make things very. I was grateful for my acting background and my playwriting background, that classes I took when I was in school, both in college, and I went to a conservatory, actually, the neighborhood playhouse school of theater. So I was, you just have to be very specific and very clear with how you communicate, and yeah, like so that was that, and also have fun when you write. You gotta like make it fun to read too. Like scripts are just blueprints. Like no one's really gonna read them. The only people that are gonna read them are for comic books are your editors and your illustrators. Well, Josh, who colors, he likes to read the script though,
which is great.
He's like, can I have the script? I'm like, Negro, you are coloring. He's like, no, I want to read the script too. And I'm like, all right,
good.
I was like,
Good.
okay. I was like, cool. So
Very
I
involved.
gave it to him, and he really wanted to get involved. And like, Cortland got involved because he said, hey, I don't like this piece of dialogue in this one page. It just something just seems like it doesn't flow right. And most creators I've known get really mad at, like, how dare he? And I'm like, no, this is a collaborative experience. And I'm just like, hey, like, what's up? Tell me about it. And I was like, fuck you, Cortland. This is my shit. Who pays your bills, brother? Who raised $15,000? No, I'm not like that. I'm like, this is a collaborative effort.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, the best things happen when it's a what's it called? What's the word when it's like a big painting, but there's different things happening.
A big painting where a lot of things
Collage.
happen.
A collage.
Oh, collage. Okay.
Like. It's just or let's do a different example because I forget the exact word, but I like that term. Like if we're all cooking like a pie, we're all putting different flavors in,
Okay.
to make this amazing masterpiece pie.
Everyone has their
There's-
ingredient.
Yeah.
So like as long as like the only thing, this isn't about me, this isn't about Cortland, this is about the comic book. So we're worshiping like one God.
Interesting.
Like what are we gonna bring to this? So he said, oh, I don't like this piece of dialogue, and I didn't say like fuck you, Cortland.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, like
Okay.
so
Let's talk about it.
yeah, like, not even like a let's talk about it. I just said, what would you say instead?
Yeah, like
And I didn't say that in a challenging way, like, well, what would you say then, bitch?
I'm the writer.
I wasn't calling you a bitch. I meant that like talking to Cortland. I apologize.
I'm sure. I
Please
know
don't-
that much.
Okay, cool. Shit. I was like, oh shit, that was kind of strong. But no, I wasn't like, yo, so how would you write? I was just like, hey, so like, what would you say? Like, I'm curious. And he's like, well, I would say this. And then I'm like, okay. And then we would like work on it, and we both like came up with something together. And he got to have his thing. And I think he even like, he's like, there's a thing where Caesar, the big dude, who when he gets
Mr. Shoddy.
yeah.
So I like to call him Mr. Shoddy.
Yeah, I based him off of
Please don't
Michael
say
J.
it.
White.
Oh, okay. I was saying, please don't.
Nice.
Yeah, that's why I based
Nice.
him. Yeah, when you read his voice and Michael J. White's voice.
Yes,
Black Dynamite.
I can see that. Yeah.
Dynamite.
Yeah.
Dynamite.
Spawning going on.
Yeah.
Spawn thing going on.
So like I wrote there's in the original line, like in the comic book, he says like this woman's crazy. But like when Harriet's like talking shit to these vampires, spoiler alert, whatever. I'm not gonna tell the whole thing, but like in the original thing, like my editor was like, he should say this bitch is crazy. And my Cortland's wife read it and she's like, I don't like that they called Harriet a bitch. And I think it doesn't make them as likable because are they gonna be traveling? Like, yeah, they're gonna be, together a lot. Like that family is like
It's unnecessary like conflict.
Yeah.
between
yeah,
us, so,
yeah. And he's like, I don't like that. And like, I'm fine with the vampires say some racial awful things.
Oh, they're
about
terrible. They're the
Harriet.
worst.
And they were like, that's okay, but like, I think I don't like that. And I was like, I thought about it, and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, and then we just made it this woman's crazy. So like, and it wasn't like a big epic thing. There was never like a, You know, because
this is my design. This is my, you know,
you
have ego. Take your ego out of the way.
You have to be open to collaboration. That's why I think a lot of these writers and directors in Hollywood, some of them succeed, but some of them fail when they fail to communicate. And your communication is not only in how you speak, but it's also in how you listen. You know, it's like, I think we were all arguing. I think I forgot. It was my literary managers and my lawyer. We were all talking about something that I cannot discuss on the air about Harriet Tubman Demon Hunter.
Sure, no problem.
So it was my literary managers who represent me for like TV writing and shit, and my lawyer. And then, but there was like we all like I was like, wait. They thought I said blue, but I meant sky blue. I can't really say what it was on the record yet. I'll tell you guys when it's done.
Sure.
So, and I'm like, oh, okay. Like we all have to be in a specific communication, and like I was watching Thor Ragnarok, which I love. And I think it's a fun, entertaining movie. And that director was talking, Taika Waititi, and he was just saying like how he's never had this experience before working on a big $100 million movie where there's like, damn, I should have drank water. My mouth is all dry. What's it called? I'm just really excited. He was talking about collaborating with like Disney people, and his background is indie comedy, and he's not used to like that type of thing.
Corporate speak.
Yeah, corporate speak.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, I'm just gonna not look at it as them attacking me.
Yeah.
They want this to be good. They don't want it to suck.
Yeah.
So no matter what, I'm gonna just say I'm collaborating. This is a collaboration. They want to help. They all want to help, and 90% of his humor is in the movie.
Yeah.
You know, and
I agree.
And then they would come in. I think there was a thing where they shot a scene. Have you guys seen Thor Ragnarok?
Yeah.
Yes.
So like, there's a spoiler alert for Thor Ragnarok. And what the fuck are you doing not seeing Thor Ragnarok? It's fucking amazing.
It's almost a month away. Yeah, it's been a month gone. Like, come on.
You are late as fuck. Anywho, so fuck you. It's a spoiler. It's a great movie. So Odin like dies, and they see him in like Norway.
Yeah.
In the original thing, he's homeless and on the street in New York City in the original cut. So they were like, wait, this doesn't flow right, because he's saying goodbye to his sons. This is emotional, and like they're in New York. It seems kind of goofy in New York. We need to reshoot this whole thing, and like
so they changed something because it was too soft-handed and something so bigger than life type of thing.
It's
and
like,
you need a grand end.
That's interesting.
It's like,
because
this character's important, and he's going to like leave, and then we have to come back to see him again when Thor has no eye, and he's like all crying and shit. He's like, Daddy, she's too strong and shit. He's like, you're not the god of hammers, you're the god of thunder and shit. And like that wouldn't have been as powerful if he was in an alley in New York City. It would have been more powerful if it was almost like a heavenly thing. So they went back and just reshot that whole thing, and they were all just in unison and in communication with each other. Like a lot of the times, you know, the reasons why I think some of those DC movies have failed is there was something missing within the communication of that team. You know, like Wonder Woman, amazing Marvel movie.
Wow.
That's right.
I remember when you put that in my inbox, and I sat there and I gave you like, okay, so we're doing this.
Let's not do that. Okay.
You better give DC put some spec on DC's name because
I love DC. I love DC.
Okay,
I love DC. I love DC.
Let DC
comics.
at least have one. And that one good, please don't give it to Marvel.
Don't credit Marvel.
Okay, no, the only reason why I credit it to Marvel is because the whole movie read actually except with going into because Marvel they don't go into people's childhood.
Marvel, yeah.
They've never gone to like I don't know what Doctor Strange was doing when he was 14.
Yeah.
You know, it opens with this motherfucker as an actual doctor, and he's kind of an asshole a little bit.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, that was their origins. I mean, some of these because Marvel has like very relatable. Everything about Marvel is relatable. You know, you can just about the entire cast of Marvel in New York City. You know, and pretty much. And most of these individuals don't really have a, teenager other than Spider-Man. And maybe you want to touch on Captain America, sure. But most of these Marvel, look at Logan. He's like 200 years old.
Yeah.
We can't even we're gonna go down to his origins, but he's still like 45 forever. So
that Negro
but see, the thing about DC is that everything about DC characters
is larger than life. They're god tier, all of them.
They were kids. It's always something about their childhood.
It's a childhood trauma thing.
Oh yeah, like freaking Bruce Wayne. Like
I mean, he's like the poster child of.
He's the poster, literally the poster child.
Yeah,
for all
dead
the
parents.
Dead parents.
He's the Mickey Mouse. We all know this. He's the Mickey Mouse.
Oh yeah, and he. What was it?
I'm intrigued by why you'd call Wonder Woman
Marvel
so this
film.
is
why I called it a
I'm
Marvel.
not going to let that go.
Okay. I'm going to break it down.
Break it down
Please.
for us here.
All right,
I got to hear it.
So we get the setup. We get the origins. I don't hate Wonder Woman, by the way.
Oh,
I like it a lot. My whole thing with this, Patty Jenkins fought for that scene with, I almost said Harriet. I said, fought for the scene with Wonder Woman,
taking the mortars, right?
Taking the bullets and all that stuff. And DC was like, oh, you got to cut that out. And she's like, no, the fuck, we are not cutting that out.
Oh, we should have had her when Snyder was.
They should have switched seats. Just let Patty Jenkins direct Justice League, or let her direct.
I wanted her to direct Justice League. Justice League 2.
Yeah, part 2, right?
Part 2.
Yeah,
but she's doing Wonder Woman 2, and up until the Russo brothers, I was afraid. I'm like, oh, what if they get fatigued?
Yeah.
There's creative fatigue, and it happens in these movies.
But as you were saying,
but no, as I was saying, okay, so Patty Jenkins great at communicating. Said no, I'm not letting this go. This is why it's really important. Best scene in the movie. So amazing Marvel movie. So we get the opening scene. It's her as a kid and all that shit. Everything's really funny and light. Ha 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 ha. And then we get introduced to lackluster villains like Marvel.
So he's hitting the indirect to Marvel while insulting DC at the exact same time.
It's like throwing shade on both of them, really.
Yeah, no, bro,
it's equal
both
shade.
Of the, equal shade. Marvel,
Marvel's villains are
horrible.
The only villains I remember up until Thanos with his Debo-looking self. Seriously, he looks like when he walked out. He looks like he walked out of jail, and he doesn't give a fuck about going back. I was like, oh shit, this dude's gonna wreck some shit. Freaking punches Tony, and Tony's like, oh,
he chest checked him. Oh my god!
I was like, oh shit! I need to watch that.
So
scene
we have
with a black
generic
artist.
villain.
So we have generic villain, generic third act. Generic third act reveal, but we have a fully developed, well-rounded hero.
Yeah, makes sense.
What's it called? What else is Marvel? Lighting.
Well, see now. So okay, now mind you. Now let's say
it's only Marvel when they're on Themyscira. But you need that
light.
But this is what's fucked up about.
It needs to be radiant.
The whole. I don't think there's that much of a difference with DC and Marvel. They're all comic books. The only difference is I don't think Superman's a god. I think Clark Kent is a dude from Kansas who's really into journalism, who happens to have godlike abilities.
Now, mind you,
he was raised here.
Yes. Yeah. Now, mind you,
he's Clark first.
I agree. They're all comic books, no doubt about that. Now, I'm one of those individuals where I like to separate. For me, they're all comic books, but at the end of the day, as I said, Marvel is a very, very grounded in all again.
Marvel's brand is stronger. That's what it is.
Yeah, and then you have DC where everything is
messy,
fictional. All these individuals, all these heroes are fictional. These are legendary.
Cities are fictional.
They're based on legends.
Yeah,
Batman, Superman. live in fictional.
I have been when I was a kid. I was like, yo, where the fuck is Metropolis at?
Exactly.
I thought Metropolis
Exactly.
was real because
Right.
I would read like Marvel and everything's in New York City. So I turned to Superman. I was like,
Exactly.
oh shit, where's Metropolis? My silly ass on AOL looking up
Right.
what state is Metropolis in?
And
looking like a fool.
And this is where I think
Gotham's
that,
in New Jersey, by the way.
I always say that. I always say it.
Gotham.
That's the truth.
They said Gotham
Always.
is a mixture of Camden and Newark,
Yes.
New Jersey.
That's hilarious.
Yes.
Yeah.
And yes. And yes.
And like a little bit of Jersey City in there.
Mm-hmm.
So
And, I mean, it used to be New York back in No Man's Land when that came out.
Yeah.
But they shifted a little bit afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
But it's Marvel did it first, and that's the thing. Marvel did it first, and that's kind of played to them more. So like, no matter what, like let's say Dynamite does something, Dark Horse, if DC gets their act together and do these one-shot movies again, it's just gonna be another Marvel thing. It's like, okay, well, this looks like Marvel.
Marvel's on its
This
way
should be
out.
Marvel.
Like they're signing off,
and there's nothing wrong with that. But as a DC, fan, is like we can never, it's not a DC thing anymore. It's like, especially when it comes to the visual aspect of everything now.
yeah.
And it sucks, and and it sucks is not the right word to say. It's unfortunate. Because we want DC to do good, to have its own vision, but whenever we have their own vision, it's like, but it's not Marvel standard. It's like
Marvel sets
Or
some
it's like,
standard, and
either-
if nobody
either-
lives
it's
to
either
it,
like-
it's a bad movie.
Yeah, it's not like it's not Marvel, or it's too much like Marvel, so they
So you
can't
don't win.
find.
You lose
Well,
every
like,
time.
This
DC.
is like I made a joke about I had low expectations with Wonder Woman because I was kind of like,
jaded,
yeah, because the DCEU, it just felt like
rushed.
it felt like your best friend was trying to sell you on this really like amazing girl.
Yeah.
And you go on this first date. The first date is Man of Steel, where I was like, okay, you kind of like match all the cool things my friend said about you, but this was a fine date. This was okay.
Acceptable.
And then a week goes by, and your friend's like, yo man, you ready for that second date? I'm like, oh, I'll see. And then I look at this girl's Instagram or Facebook, and I'm like, oh, she seems really cool. Wow, I found her Instagram. Wow, she's really cool and awesome. Oh snap, she does that. Wow. And then the second date is Batman v Superman, and it's kind of a shitty ass disappointing date. And you're like, oh, I'm never dealing with this person again. Like this person, this was like walking into a funeral. What a depressing,
Quite
sad
literally
person.
at that point.
Like in all her profile pictures and all her Snapchat stories and all her Instagram, this is allegory for trailers.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, oh, she seems really cool. And then I don't hear from the girl for months. And then she comes back and she's like, hey, I'm looking at her profile, and she's like at a concert of musicians I really like. And I'm like, oh shit, she has a really good taste in music. And she's like, hey, what's up? She hits me up again. I'm like, oh cool, let's hang out again. I was like, okay, that first date was, I saw potential here with this girl. Like the way my friend described her to me, she seems like the one. Third date is fucking Suicide Squad. Okay. Third date is Suicide Squad. She's into the same music that I like. She's friends with she has similar friends that I've grown up with. Harley Quinn and Joker. She seems really fun and cool, and I'm finding out these new things about her. Then we go on the date, and it's again doesn't completely suck, but she's interesting to talk to, but I'm like, man, she's kind of boring.
Yeah.
Midway into this conversation,
Like the momentum kind of just drops.
yeah, and then she's telling me a story, but I've heard it a million times that I've seen in her Snapchats already, but I can't tell her that I've been stalking her Snapchats and shit. So I'm like, yeah, I already kind of so I have to pretend. This is what happens when you overexpose in a trailer. I'm like, yeah, I've already heard that.
DC is really bad.
I've already heard that from my friend. Cool. I thought this date was gonna go this way, but it went that way. That sucks. And then a year later, and then she's turned into Wonder Woman. And
you're like,
I'm like, whoa, you're like,
Be careful who you make fun of when they're younger.
holy shit, you're cool. What would you say?
Don't make me be careful who you make fun when they're younger, because they could turn.
Yeah,
to
right, the
Wonder
glow up
Woman.
was Wonder Woman,
I'm like,
man.
oh shit, the glow. Talk about the glow up. I'm like, oh shit, this girl's cool. She's so much fun and bright and funny and easygoing. I'm about to cry and shit. Like, she's so dope and everything. And now we're at Justice League, where I'm like, this sucks until Superman shows up, and and then I'm like, okay,
That beautiful bathroom mentality.
Yeah,
Yo,
like
for real.
I'll continue seeing you, but I'm nervous about it. Are you gonna stop seeing your boyfriend Ben Affleck? Are you gonna stop seeing that guy because he's not really committed to you at all? You should see someone else like me, or you should see John Hamm is in the news to play Batman. To replace him.
What?
I'm
Yes,
really excited
I
about
can't
it.
wait for this.
That's interesting.
Yes,
Yeah.
I gotta say,
he has the. Oh my goodness.
I feel
that
like
should have been their first fucking choice.
yeah, no one would argued. No one said
Yeah, we're
anything.
like,
No.
okay,
Acceptable.
Yeah.
I will live with this. We'll wait till the movie comes out. People were shitting on Ben as soon as it was announced because he was associated with failures over and over and over again.
I don't want Gyllenhaal. I get out of here.
Jake
bro.
Gyllenhaal
Get
is
out
also
here,
being
bro.
talked. I want to get their headshots. And I'm going to draw a Batman face on them and decide who looks the best.
I mean, I liked the Jake until I saw him. It's like, well, no, there's no competition.
I got to
Jake,
draw
yeah,
on the
Jake.
face.
Oh, when you saw who?
The new one that's being looked at for
Jake
the
Oh,
Batman.
John Hamm?
Yeah.
Oh, John Hamm?
Yeah.
No,
When I
Jake-
saw him, I was like, bye, Jake.
No,
Let
Jake
Jake go.
Gyllenhaal's on. When I'm like, no, you're the Joker, dude. He's either the Joker or he's Nightwing.
Oh, I can see that.
But last I
that can kind of
last I heard, they're looking at Zac Efron as
Ooh.
Nightwing, which I'm like, because Nightwing is supposed to be like this super like sexy like person, but with like substance and like has
Yeah.
a sense of humor and all. And they are doing a Nightwing movie,
Yes,
which I'm
they are.
excited about.
Yeah.
And Teen
but,
Titans
like-
with Robin is already coming out, so that's a thing
Yeah.
too.
So like, I'm like,
When it comes to Justice League, you remember that analogy I used?
Yeah, the beautiful clean bathroom.
The gas station bathroom analogy.
Yeah.
You know, say you're driving your car and you're like, dang, I really gotta go, man. And the closest place is the gas station bathroom. You're like, okay, let me just go here. Is it gonna be okay? Okay. So you open up the door and you look into the bathroom. You're like, oh my gosh, it's actually okay. Wow, there's not shit on the floor. There's not shit on the floor. You know, if I use the toilet, I won't catch hepatitis C. You know what I mean? That the mirror is clean as toilet paper. That was okay
And that
for a
was-
gas station
that was Justice
bathroom.
League,
And that's
yeah.
what Justice League felt like. It was okay for the expectations I already had very,
Yes.
very low.
oh yeah.
So you came in
Super
like,
low.
why? First of all, the Snapchat filter face that Superman was sporting,
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck is this?
all this money.
I'm like, Negro, you can't shave. He's like,
They-
oh, I'm doing Mission Impossible.
I don't care.
I'm like, shit, girl throws back.
The hair goes back. I don't care if I can make you a lace front mustache. I will do it myself so you can be in Mission
It's
Impossible.
a lot cheaper. It's a lot cheaper to get like a fake.
Get a
like,
practical effect. Come on, bro. You're a
like,
Marvel
production.
literally made a 16-year-old Robert Downey Jr. in Civil
They
War.
made exactly.
They made. Listen, I'm sorry. Fox made a younger Jack Hugeman. Okay, okay,
Hugh
Jack
Jackman.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and Jack Hugeman. That's what we
it's okay,
decided
it's
to
a-
play, and we can't fix Clark's mustache
I
problem.
can't fix my man's face.
Jack-
I'm like, yo.
It was just baffling. That was the first thing I knew. Oh, this is going to be a wild ride from this point. It was just like,
Because at first I'm like, something's off. I thought, oh, maybe it's the camera that the kids are using. But then when they got closer, I'm like,
oh no.
I'm like, okay. I'm like, I'm happy to see Superman. I'm happy that his shit is bright. And this scene is actually well written. But I'm like,
This is distracting. It took so much away.
yeah, like it took me out because I'm like you said with Marvel. Like I'm watching Ant-Man the other day, and what's his name? Michael Douglas has to show up in like the 80s, and he shows up looking like the 80s Michael Douglas,
Wow.
and I'm like, oh shit, he looks really young. They did a really good job with makeup, and it's like, no, they just put like dots on his face, and they just like
Projected. Oh,
they-
that's impressive.
They like threw some like freaking Cinderella dust on it, and they were like, "Yeah, you're young now." And they've done that for a lot of the movies. They did it for Captain America. It started with Captain America: The Winter Soldier,
Also.
because I think something fell through with the makeup person to make my wife, who plays Agent Carter. That's my crush for life.
That's right.
They had to make her look like 90-something years old. It was
And it
something,
worked.
I think something happened with the makeup, so they just put a wig on her and they like put dots around her face.
Yeah.
Oh.
And they're like, we're gonna use CGI, and they're like, oh, this is gonna be a disaster.
And
But
it will.
then she looks fucking 90.
Hey man, they
Like,
did
put
it
all
with
the-
Star Wars to bring the general back, and they did it with Leia at one point, the
Yeah.
younger Leia, and it worked. It wasn't very uncanny
Oh, yeah.
valley, know?
Like
Well,
I think
not DC though.
no,
they can't
not
just
DC.
cover a mustache. That's
can't
it.
just come with the tiny ass lips and shit. And like, and what's fucked up is that's such a cool. Like, I think that's the best scene in the whole movie when he comes back.
Yeah.
And they're all fighting
sick.
him. Like my favorite spoiler for Justice League. My favorite part. That's my favorite part in the whole movie. All my friends are fighting me on this. You know, when it's like, you know, Flash is like, oh shit, let me get this motherfucker. I got y'all.
Oh yeah, yeah.
then
And
all,
he just looks at
all
him
of
like,
a sudden, there's just the
eyes.
I was like, my
eyes.
audience bust. It was a black audience. They were
Oh,
like,
you already.
oh,
He about to get it.
Oh shit, he's seen his ass. And then he's like, oh shit, he sees my ass, but he can't do shit. Then he's like,
Too late.
motherfucker.
He gave him
oh shit. He's like, let me toss these motherfuckers. Let me toss these
Turns
motherfuckers
around.
and deal with your ass. And Flash is all like, he's kind of thrown off because he's realized, number one, that someone can see him.
Yeah.
Well, he's
moving
in
that
Speed
fast.
Force, yeah.
And someone can move almost as fast as him because he would like
just enough to catch and deal with
And
you.
touch you.
yeah because
And sure, we know Flash is faster, but he got caught off guard.
Yeah, he
it's
slowed down
It's
probably.
gonna screw his momentum up.
oh yeah, it fucks up his like he's
Yeah.
for the first time that character's game is thrown off.
Yep.
And like
Yeah.
it's funny, but he's really like
The
oh
danger was
shit,
real.
oh shit,
Because
like
if
I could
Superman had a
die.
hand on him, it would have been game over.
Oh yeah, and like he even says that he's having like kind of a panic attack. It's like I'm just used to like running and pushing.
That's
criminals.
it, and that worked.
And like that's all I do. I've never like gone into like an actual battle. I've never
Yeah.
done it before.
How did you feel about Cyborg's look?
Cyborg, I like. Ray did such a good job performing it. His performance actually distracted me from the bad CGI. Because no, he was just really like he it felt real. Like he felt really grounded.
Yes.
And this like it's his first movie too, but he's like
This is my favorite part of the movie, by the way.
yeah.
My favorite part.
You know, and he's like talking to his dad. He's like, "Why the fuck did you bring me back?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh shit!" I'm like, "I'm happy they kind of brought in the comic. It's way more intense." He's like, he's like crying. He's like, "Why did you bring me back?
Yep.
Fuck
It's
you,
a
nigga!
huge-
Why did you bring me back?" But,
Huge
like,
conflict between those two.
oh yeah, but he's like, "Why?" He's like, "Why didn't
You
let
couldn't
me die?"
just-
You're
yeah,
like,
couldn't
he's
let
like,
go.
"Well, I lost your mom. I can't let you go." He's like, "You're selfish and shit." He's like, "You're selfish." Bye. And he like
And you just-
floats away and shit.
So,
Mhm.
I'm sorry. So,
No, go ahead.
bringing it back around
Yeah.
to the main story, main topic, mind you. I'm gonna ask one question, because we're almost done at time here. We're almost going on the 2 hours marker.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah, time goes fast when we have
Holy
fun.
shit.
Now this is just more of a fun question because honestly, you've answered all my questions without me asking you. You know, when you went on and I was just like, whoa, okay, check, that's good.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I was like, "Why is he on his phone?" No.
No.
I was
We're
like,
just
"The
like,
fuck?"
dang, you got it, you got it.
Now this question is more of like just a little more fun thing, if you will.
Yeah.
And I like asking this because I remember asking this just to Jessica a while back.
Yeah.
Actually, no, I didn't ask to Jessica because she had her little fangirl thing going on.
Yeah.
Which is the name of her comic. It's not. She's not a fangirl.
Yeah.
or anything.
Yeah, she has a indie
she-
comic called Fangirl.
Yeah.
Fangirl?
Yeah. It's pretty. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's really
it's
cool.
great.
Where is it?
I
You
can
know-
I can link
yes.
you up. Yeah. I
Link
can
me up.
I can look you
Yes.
up.
Yes.
Ask the question.
So, if given the chance, all right, if given the chance, if Harriet were to go and slip through a multi-dimensional portal and meet any hero, and work alongside this said hero, what would it be? It can be anywhere from Marvel, DC, Image, Dynamite. But now, if you want to keep it to the three bigs, then we'll keep it to Image, DC, and Marvel.
Oh, I would have it.
And why?
Oh,
Superman is out of the loop because I know your boy.
Oh yeah,
Superman.
no,
I know your
no,
boy
no.
Superman.
She wouldn't. I wouldn't have her
It'd
be
be,
Superman.
it'd be so cool getting Superman just throw her and she's coming in like
Yeah,
Just like
that would be
cannonballs
cool.
and stuff, and
so
just like
awesome. It'd be
I
so
would
great.
have her
Oh.
because it has to be someone. I like it when characters meet and they don't like each other,
Yes,
and
a story built up on the characters itself.
yeah. It would have to be like they have a particular. That's my biggest problem with that. Superman, like they don't fight, but they both have a prejudice about each other.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So it would have to be someone she has like. She would have a particular prejudice about, and that person needs to have a particular prejudice about her.
Okay.
I would have her meet Logan. I would never meet Wolverine.
Interesting.
The saltiness.
But see, I think that'd be a wonderful matchup, but not because that they would match.
Not only because like they're both like short.
He would just be a few inches above her, to be honest with you.
Like, yeah, he would just be. He would only be.
For a second.
He would. Yeah, no, like we forget.
Oh
like
God.
Hugh Jackman, like. I kind of hope he doesn't come back. I want to.
Oh, he's coming back. He's coming back.
Oh yeah, because they're gonna close that deal next week.
Yeah, that deal with Avengers being X-Men now. Yeah, he's gonna come back.
Yeah, I'm wondering if I would have her because Wolverine, though he's kind of like, yes, contextually they're very similar.
And that's
But Harriet, the way I've written my Harriet and stuff from history, there's like this positive, like there's hope at the end of the day.
Interesting.
Like, we're leading people to freedom. We're saving people. Like everything's gonna be all right. And he's kind of like, fuck that shit. Like I'm like
gutting people.
Yeah, I'm gutting people. Like Wolverine still hasn't gotten over this thing that happened to him. Even though like it's cool that he's with the X-Men. But there's always this underlying, like, everything kind of sucks a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. And, like, it kind of haunts him in a way. Like, Brian Michael Bendis wrote this thing, and he wrote Wolverine a certain way that I never thought of Wolverine this way. It's in a Jessica Jones book. It's really funny. Like, well, it's not funny. This part isn't funny, but Jessica Jones is investigating because... this guy's complaining. He says, I think my wife's cheating on me. And she finds that this dude's wife is cheating on him because she had a one-night stand with Logan.
Wow.
And like, so
womp, womp, womp.
Yeah, so he's like,
Just to steal your girl.
a fucking mutant? Are you fucking kidding me? So like the way he's going on is the way it's like almost like racist, like a black
and
guy.
Jessica Jones.
Really? Yeah.
And Jessica Jones like, hey, I'm like,
hello.
I have powers. And he's like, well, this is your fault. And the dude makes the mistake of choking her. And then she's like,
Mistakes
you don't mess with Jones. I'm sorry.
You don't put hands on her.
Tosses
she put hands
his
on you.
ass. No, but like she has to team up with Logan at one point to do something.
That's an interesting.
Jessica Jones does, and Logan just says something like, he's like, he's having a nightmare. He's like, they raped me. That's what they did to me. And and I was like, I never really thought of Logan because I'm like, oh,
wow.
they kind of like, in a way, that they took advantage of this guy. He thought he was signing up for something else, but they said, no, we're gonna put this shit in you, and we might erase your memory. And
pretty much. Yeah.
And they erase his memory.
Yeah.
And they turn him into a killing machine. Then like some of it comes back.
They took his agency.
Yeah. They took
completely.
his consciousness. They took his soul.
Practically, yeah. They built him in their image.
Yeah, and like
against his will. That's not
Wow, that's one way of putting it.
Yeah, and he's trying to like, and he still doesn't know who he is. Like I had an argument with my friend, like like one of the reasons why like I love Superman so much. Yeah. Even like a little bit more than Batman in a way. Like I think Clark is the most like mentally well-adjusted person,
no doubt,
in the Justice League.
I agree with you.
Like Wonder Woman is she can't.
She's the objective. I consider she's like the objective fire. She's the objective point that you need in the group.
Yeah, she has a very clear sense of justice.
And she's like.
Right.
I love this part. She's like, I'm not like Bruce or Clark.
Yeah.
I'll kill you. And I was
actual
like,
war.
But
she's a warrior.
She's like,
she does it when both sides can't deal with it, because you know where Superman stands. We all know this. Justice in a very optimistical way. Batman is justice, but in a more, I'm gonna break every bone in your body way, but I'm not gonna kill you, and you're gonna be But when those sides don't meet, evangelism and versus the Justice America way, here comes Wonder Woman, the very last resort. And there's a comic book where that happened, and they both failed in their methods. And here comes Wonder Woman, snap neck.
Yeah.
Just like this. And she's like, you can't say anything. You guys tried it. I let you guys do it. Now it's my turn to do it the way I do it.
Yeah.
And it happened. And it just happened to be that when that happened, everyone saw it in the world. And then they got scared of the Justice League, and they started objectifying. But that's
And even like I loved another great part in the Justice League movie. Like I loved it when her and Bruce were arguing about it, and I loved it. He like freaking low blow. He's just like, "Oh, who told you that, Steve Trevor?" Or the black audience.
Yo, we were
snap!
And then she pushed him,
and he's like,
okay.
Well,
he gets his shit together.
Puts his collar back.
He kind of sort of liked that shit with his horny self.
Yo,
he kind of
he
liked
was
that.
into it.
Listen,
he was into it.
My thing is, yeah, you gotta push understand though. If she kills you, we ain't stopping her. Like that's cool, but at the end of
She
the day,
could really hurt
that
him.
just meant she lost the battle. Boom.
You got her mad.
Oh, you mad? I'm
You
done.
mad, though.
I
He's
got my point
psychologically
across.
like fucked you.
And that's what and that's the whole point of
Bruce's-
Batman. That's Bruce.
That's
right
Bruce's
there.
Yeah.
strength,
And, like,
pushing buttons.
And there's a part in I love when they don't get along. Like there's
Yes.
a part in the comics where Clark meets his cousin. Supergirl is introduced for the first time, and like he's trying to keep her a secret, and like he's like, oh, it's my cousin.
Mm-hmm.
Like I like though I am a human, but like I am like from Krypton, and she knows my parents. He's like learning about her, and Wonder Woman's like, well, they get ambushed by a bunch of Themyscirans and Amazons, and he's like, what the fuck is happening? And he's like, she can't be here. She has to like live with us so she can hone her power. It's fucking dangerous to have her here. You're being really irresponsible. And he's like, fuck you, Diana. This is my cousin.
Yeah.
He's like, no. And he's like, no, she's staying. And he's like, what are you? And they're about to like fight. And Bruce is like, yo.
Well, you know when Bruce is like trying to be the mediator, you know there's something wrong.
Yeah, seriously.
And and it's like we've never seen that because like it's not Clark being a dick. Like he's like, this is my cousin.
This is my family. What right do you have?
Yeah, like who the fuck are you?
That's
like,
the truth.
Like
yeah.
I see you every Thursday. We do this. we do this Justice
We
League.
save the world every Tuesday night. Like, come on, bro.
Like what the fuck? Like I don't know who you are. We don't hang out. You ain't my girl. Lois is my girl.
Yeah.
Like I see you when Darkseid shows up and shit.
Yeah.
Then we we freaking come together like the motherfucking Beatles and shit.
Yeah.
But
And then
like
we go back to her.
like who the fuck is you? And then but she wasn't backing down. She's like, who the fuck are you? And she's like not backing down and shit. Missed opportunity in Man of Steel. This drives me crazy. In Man of Steel, where freaking Zod is like, he's like, I learned how to hone my skills, Cal. I was trained as a warrior. Where did you learn how to hone your skills? On a farm? I wanted Clark to say,
Themyscira.
Yeah.
I
wanted
thought
him to be like,
Oh, that'd have been cute.
yeah,
That'd have been cute.
I would have been like,
you know.
well, he's like, yeah, I did. I actually did learn how to, because that would have been like, it would have been funny, but it would have been like,
Give him some personality.
give him some personality,
Like,
not
yeah.
all this serious shit. What
Superman's
the
a
fuck?
chill guy.
He's
At the end of the day, he is just the nicest guy in the world.
He is.
He doesn't do enough small stuff, like help the regular person. He's always in the sky, punching people through skyscrapers.
Yep.
But the Superman that at least that I was familiar with, that, I make fun of he's a Boy Scout, but literal Boy Scout, like literally helping old ladies across the street.
I mean, that's
Superman.
the veins of these heroes. Like,
That's it.
Catch the cat from the tree. Help someone who's who needs help. Like that's the vein of these.
And
of
you
these
know
heroes,
what's
which is good,
unfortunate about Batman? The Batman that we've seen so far does not help the little guy at all. The Batman that we've seen with Ben Affleck.
Well, he did say that little girl in the beginning of Batman v Superman during the World Trade Center's falling down.
True. He did that one but he was as Bruce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? His Batman is so scary and so intimidating. It's like,
But I mean,
I'm not scared of his Batman at all.
like we can't we
All
can't
huffing and puffing.
yeah. I mean, we can't blame it. We can't blame it on the whole Ben
His
Affleck thing. It's
direction.
because this
ultimate
is
direction.
this is Dark Knight and plus years. This is him coming back from the Batman, and everything DC was trying to make everything bigger than life situations. And I'm pretty sure if we had like a Batman standalone movie, we'll probably see him help, save a cat from a tree or something like that.
something cute.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
So, that would be cute if he did actually save a cat from a tree. And
That would be.
I'm sorry, I live for that stuff. Anything that I read, I'm sorry.
Give me some wholesome stuff.
Like, give me something that I can see happening, because I'm a huge person when it comes to like that. I would love to see Superman coming in, fly as he normally does on his way to Metropolis or meet Lois, and he's like, he hears a little girl screaming, "Oh, help me! This guy's on a tree," or somebody's just crying because someone got bullied, and he comes down and give him some hope. And that's what I live for. I reread that comic book like
Be that symbol.
than saving the world, because
Yes.
we know these people do that all the time.
Yes.
And they get and all these small things helping the little people gets omitted because we think we want something bigger than life. This is where DC gets screwed up sometimes. And we're like, we know this is happening. These people are crazy. But this is why I like people like down to street level, like the Jessica Jones, the Cage,
Daredevil's my
Daredevil.
jam.
The one thing I remember when it was in the Justice League animated series, I mean, I know. So we were gonna end this a while ago, but this is just so much fun talking to you, and this is it's always gonna get edited through post, you know.
Yeah, post.
But I remember in one of the Justice League animated series in Cartoon Network where they were trying to get this little girl.
Oh, what are you talking about?
Yeah, and she had these crazy psychic powers, and Batman goes in.
Yeah.
And you think he's gonna go swimming like a Batman?
Such a good episode.
He sees her on the swing, and he sits right next to her, and he starts just talking. Yeah, to her.
Real tears.
And I'm sorry. That's the Batman I want.
Yeah.
That is the Batman that I always look for. Right.
Yeah.
Not just so hard and stoic all the time.
Yes.
There's an issue with Superman where there's a girl who's gonna jump and she's gonna commit suicide, and Clark he flies up and she's like, "Don't try to fucking save me or I'll jump. All right, fuck you." He's like, "I'm not gonna do anything. I'm just gonna." And it's like him just like floating and like talking to her for the entire issue, and the whole issue it's just them talking. And then there's a 3-panel thing where she's like, "Well, I just need to fucking sit and think." I'm like, she's like really overwhelmed because there's a bunch of people like watching and screaming, all
Third Eye Black
sirens.
My friend.
So Clark's like, yeah, like he's like, I'll just like float here. You can just do whatever you want. And Clark's just like this, and he's just like floating and like listening to her. And then he says like, hey, like I know what it's like to suck at stuff. And I know what it's like to fail at things. He's just, listen, I wasn't really popular growing up and stuff, and he without giving away like his identity and stuff, he's like, I know what it's like to be an outsider, and I know what it's like to be alone and want to kill yourself, but I promise you there's hope at the end of the day. And he says like, why is that? He's like, because like you have people who love you. And then we forget that Clark has friends. Clark has like parents.
He graduated high school. He went to college. He became a journalist. He had this whole life.
And he traveled the world. We forget like in my Superman movie, like in Birthright, he's traveled to Africa. He's traveled to like,
that's interesting.
He's traveled to Spain. He's like been in different countries and formed relationships with people. Like I wrote this one thing where it's him like I wish in Man of Steel, instead of him working these dumb stupid jobs, I wish he was like an online student and he was just like traveling and like living in like in Africa for a little bit, and then just to see how other people live and connect and just see the world. Because I'm like, what is all this dark shit in the comics? He knew how to fly, or no, he didn't know how to fly. He would run though.
He'd run and jump and trying to develop it as he's goes along.
Yeah, and like he ended up like in Africa. And he's like, holy shit, I'm in Africa! Holy shit! And like he's like, oh, are you Clark? He's like, yeah. Well, we thought you'd be here in 14 hours. You got here in 4 hours. And he's like, yeah, I did.
So like like not too long ago they did Superman had I think it was Action Comics, or I think it was Superman, where like there was he saved immigrants from a Make America Great type of individual, and they're about to be
red hat.
It made the news. It actually made the news.
I saw
this comic book actually made the news. It was like 3 months ago, 3.5, 4 months ago, and it was huge. And it was Superman, stopping. And they made a big blur about this. Oh, now Superman is not an American hero; he's a world hero. And people making a huge. Dude, they were making a huge, and I'm sorry, I showed this to my mom, my dad. I went crazy for this. It was all over the news, and this is the stuff that we want. This is why Marvel, I believe, will they will always beat DC, because they're just more relatable in a sense. Stories is fine, and I'm a DC head. I love DC by all means, and but sometimes fiction is great, but we want relatable. And
current events, for that matter.
Right, that's what hit home. That's what hits home. This is why I think the Marvel movies always make it. Because in my opinion, I think it's easier to make something that's relatable. Something that lives, we can take a 45-minute bus ride and hit where Spider-Man lives. Jessica Jones lives. Where's Metropolis? Where's Gotham? We don't know what these people.
Camden. It's in Camden.
Right. The only person who got that shine now in this new DC comic book is Cyborg, who lives in Detroit. Right now.
You're right.
That's it.
That's his rebirth. Really? Yep. Yeah. He's in Detroit.
And I'm sorry, I've heard that, and I'm more excited to read his book, because
I've read a lot of Cyborg Rebirth, and there's a lot of talk about what it means to be human, what it means to be a black man, and what it means to be part of a machine at this point.
Really?
And how do we address these things? And he has to think about it a lot. Yeah. It weighs heavy on him. And with his father, bringing him back, is like, am I really a person? You know what I mean? Or am I like just his consciousness uploaded into this shell.
Yeah.
So
And it's written, and you know it's written by a black man.
Yeah,
and
it
I
is.
Love
It's
that.
a black writer.
I love it, and I love it. And you can tell that there's like this is the
nuance.
comic book.
There's
yes,
the nuance there.
Yes, and
cultural
this is the comic book
nuance.
that we need.
Absolutely.
You know, and he's gonna be the next Justice League leader, by the way.
Oh,
really?
He's gonna be pushed that
Cyborg?
way. Yeah, he is.
Moving on.
I know now we're all DC talk now.
I thought I was a teen. Well, I grew up with him as a teen Titan.
Yeah, which is
Teen
fair.
Titan, right,
He's
right.
definitely
You know,
gotten
and
more.
now he's like in the Justice League.
Yeah,
and
he's
shit.
moving up in the role. Batman is getting slower. The last Justice League issue made that apparent.
Cyborg
It's
is.
time to move away. Now Cyborg is being
Yeah, his arcs have been pretty decent. I have to say.
I agree. But now I mean, you have anything?
I am
But
talking.
yeah,
You good?
I'm good, yo.
Well, yeah, I would
Yes.
have her meet Wolverine, but I would have her meet Wolverine like in the 1800s.
Yes.
And
Thank you.
It would be like
Bone
him,
Claw?
like
Bone Claw, right? Bone
yeah,
Claw.
Bone Claw.
Yeah.
and shit.
Yeah.
And she just hears about this dude who's killing people and shit. So she goes to like hunt him and all that shit. And then they meet and like. Dude's a vicious, strong ass motherfucker, but so is she. And then she's like, "How the fuck isn't he dying?"
Oh, this is
and everything
good.
like that. And then there would be like a conversation about like identity. You know, like he's a Canadian. Is he Canadian?
Yeah, he's Canadian.
Yeah.
He's Canadian. Yep.
But yeah, like I would just I would have them meet and just talk about like just the overall parts of because you gotta understand. There's something my friend said to me. We were talking about racism and like all this cynicism and all this bullshit that's in the world. Like, because I was suffering, like not suffering. I'm grateful to have a comic book that can be rejected from publishers.
Yeah.
I'm grateful that I can
Oh,
say that.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and say, oh, I experienced a rejection from Dark Horse or something like that. So I was kind of upset. And there was another thing that I'll tell you off the record. A company had rejected me because of like Black Panther. A Black Panther comic wasn't selling as much. It was The World of Wakanda, and
But that was the first one. Came out not too long ago, like a
Yeah.
year and a half ago. The one that was boring, by the way.
Yeah.
Not the one that came after, because the one after was amazing.
Mhm.
But the one that came out after they showed Black Panther in Civil War, I believe.
yeah, the one that's written by Ta-Nehisi Coates.
Oh,
yeah.
And then World of Wakanda, which is like all. Then the other comic, which is about the Dora Milaje, and like it was apparently didn't sell as much. So
Yeah.
this company ended up rejecting Harriet Tubman Demon Slayer, and I was just like, this is bullshit. There's racism. The world sucks. And like my friend Ali. He just said like, yes, racism, cynicism, it all exists, but it's going to be about who are you in the face of that.
Yeah.
And then he was like, Negro was trying to be wise. And shit.
Yeah.
He was
Hit you with some wisdom.
He was all like, he's like, hey man, Harriet Tubman knew like all that shit was out there, but in the face of that, she kept she spoke and led from a place of like, no, we deserve better. We deserve equality.
Yeah.
This low level shit is not us. We're better than that. We are just as equal or better than slave owners and shit. And this is trash. I can lead you to Canada, and you deserve it. I don't know who you are. You look like me, but we're human and we deserve better. So fuck all this. And again, so it's like it's again, who are you going to be in the face of all this shit? And that's like how. So that's sometimes how leaders are born or legends are born. You know, that's why we like love some of our favorite superheroes and shit. You know, like Clark could have been like an asshole.
Yeah, no doubt.
Easily.
Clark could have like ruled the world.
Which I mean,
Red
it's,
Sun,
very-
Superman.
yeah.
Yeah.
Injustice, Red Sun. Like it's been depicted in many
Some
many
Dr.
different.
Manhattan motherfucking
Absolutely,
shit
yeah.
happening.
Yeah.
Completely detached if
Yeah.
he wanted to be. But he happened to be lucky enough to have these really Midwestern, nurturing
He's
parents
lucky.
who were going to love him no matter
Think
what.
about it. He was sent across, and he just happened to land here.
Yeah.
At a farm, and that's
To have the most wholesome
That's
background you
lucky.
can think of.
Yeah,
that's
like
extremely lucky.
and even
Could
like
land in the ocean
exactly.
where he should
being
have.
Atlantean for us all we could.
And like even if like even like and he even calls himself out when he's being a dick. Like when he's being a dick to his parents, like he has a fight with his dad or his mom. He's like, "Fuck you guys, you're not my real parents." Flies over and shit. And like
There's no room crashing. There's no door crashing in the room. He just flies.
he's like, "Fuck you."
Or at least jump very high. So
Yeah.
he can,
Yeah.
And then he's like, then he's like floating. And he's like, oh man, I'm kind of a dick for saying it. That's kind of fucked up that I said that. They've been taking care of me, and they're like, hey, mom, dad, I'm sorry for being a dick.
And I think that's explored in American Alien.
Yeah. Yes.
Which is also really good.
Yes.
I talked about that a while ago.
American Alien.
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
Something I had to reread. It's really good.
I know that guy. He's a great guy.
Okay.
Oh,
good.
nice. No, it was nice to look at Clark's childhood from like this very intimate, close look at what he's about. You know, him, all this anxiety about being different, you know, kind of like metaphorical puberty, I suppose, and having all these changes and nobody to relate to, you know. So I thought that was a really cool issue.
Well, I mean, you know, there's so much more than there is to Bruce, to Clark, you know, and that's the thing about, there's like the little stigma with Clark is like, oh, he's so boring, he's a Boy Scout, and it's just like,
he's boring if you're boring.
Yeah, it's boring. It's boring if you don't actually read what he has to offer.
Exactly.
Read what he has to go through.
Yeah.
You know, he's not just as one dimensional as you might think he is. He's not as boring as you think. Trust me.
There's a whole like it's if you just look at him contextually, like, oh, this guy with an S in his chest.
Yeah.
But, like there's a funny thing in the comics where like Clark can't get his hair cut because when he uses scissors, it like fucks it up.
I'm dying.
So he has to break off a piece of his ship.
Yeah, that's right. Or go
use,
shave or whatever it is too.
It's like carving shit. So Clark had to take a cosmetology class and teach himself how to cut his own hair.
See, things like that.
It's like this
little slice of life things like that are just amazing. That's what I live for, to read stuff like this.
It was like they asked him and they said that. So I was like, I just imagine Clark like at a cosmetology school, and he's like the only like white straight male in there.
All like and just like big and
he's like this big dude with like glasses and shit. And they're like, "What the?" And they're like, "Girl, what is this handsome ass white man doing here? What the fuck is this?" And he's like,
for real, that's a sight.
He's like, "Yeah, I'm just like
the square chin stereotypical white man."
Yeah, and they're like, "Yo, your hair looks fucked up. Do you cut your own hair?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's why I'm here." And he's like, so he has to like learn how to cut his own, just to cut his own hair.
I mean, he had to learn to do everything actually back, you know, in the standards of Earth, you know, not just the United States, Earth. So go figure, you know. But all right, so I don't want to cut this short. We're gonna have so much more more time to talk to you after the show.
Yeah.
But we're about to be almost we're like in the 2 hour mark here.
We've never got to this point. No, totally.
It's fine. This is
fine.
great.
This is like a whole 2-parter. Like,
okay, yeah. All right. So, would you like to end us off, please?
End us off, Tia.
End
us off.
I mean, again, first of all, thank you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much
No
for
problem.
having me. Appreciate
By
it.
all
Yes, and of
means.
course.
Thank you.
No,
Thank
I'm so
you
glad
much
I
for
messaged
having
you.
Me too.
Yeah.
Like when you told me you
was
had a show, I was like, I'll come on. Like we're I wasn't sure where you were based, and then
I was like, New Jersey.
I saw
You're in New Jersey.
Yeah, I'm in New
Jersey.
Well, no, I saw that you were at New York Comic Con. I'm like, oh, she's in New York. Maybe I can like. I'm so happy that you're in New Jersey.
Yo, serious.
That
if
would have
you
fucking sucked going into the
I was
city.
so concerned. I was like, oh, please let you be at least in New York. I would make it. I was like, oh my gosh, he's in New Jersey? That's awesome.
I'm like, I'll drive to you. Like, I'm exactly 50 minutes away from you. So I'm like, oh, okay, that's fine.
Cool.
And like, what's it called? Like, I'm happy also that you're in New Jersey and you picked today because it's supposed to snow like shit tomorrow.
Yeah,
That's
seriously.
right. Oh my
Dodged
goodness.
a bullet.
Yeah, I was supposed to go to a birthday party tomorrow, and I'm like,
Ain't
it's in
doing
Brooklyn,
happen.
and I'm like, I love these friends of mine. I love them so much, and I miss them, but I'm like, guys, I love y'all, but snow.
But snow, though.
But snow.
I mean,
But yes.
thank you again.
Thank you again
guys,
for being here.
Harriet Tubman,
Demon Slayer.
Yes.
Check it
Please.
out. We'll
Check
have
it out.
links. Let you know where to get it. Pick it up at.
PeepGameComics.com or Comixology if you like that guided reader stuff. What else? Peep Game Comics also has you can order physical copies of Harriet Tubman Demon Slayer, and they will ship and deliver it for you. I think the shipping handling altogether is like $3 or $4 and all that stuff. But it's a good comic book. It has 5 stars on Amazon and Comixology, and we outsold Invincible, Iron Man, and Hawkeye.
What? There you have it, guys. You
Drop
got
the
it.
mic.
You got it. Drop the mic.
But-
We're
but-
peaking, but it does not matter because it's worth it. We're peaking because, oh my God.
That's awesome.
And What? So Iron Man and what else?
Hawkeye.
Oh my goodness.
Hitting out the big
Look
boys,
at that.
man.
And this is Marvel we're talking about.
They
This is
always
Marvel.
sell
They
what?
always sell more, but then
everybody.
I found out but then Spider-Man: Homecoming came out. Fuck. And then my sales dropped for like 80% for like the month of
It's
July.
Spidey, man.
I'm like, shit. I walk by and I'm like, what the fuck is this still doing here? He's like, hey man, Spider-Man came out. Sorry. And I was like, what the fuck? And I would be like in the store interrogating people. I was like, yo, what the fuck you buying?
What you reading?
Spider-Man has it on me.
Spider-Man.
Harriet Tubman, we're talking.
Spider-Man didn't free no motherfucking slaves. He like threw this shit. I was like, the fuck? What is Peter? The only underground railroad Peter Parker has motherfucking seen is an R train. The fuck outta here with
facts,
this
B.
shit. That threw this shit away. It's like, David, you can't be in the store. Forcing people to
Stop
You
it.
can't harass
Stop it.
customers.
The R train. Oh my god.
All right.
shit.
We gotta wrap this
We
up.
gotta wrap
The
this up.
Darkened Hour.
We
The
having
Darkened
too much
Hour.
good time.
Thank you so
Of course,
much.
shout outs to our platform, Speaking Mind Radio, making this possible. This is our studio, and we've been with Speaking Mind for almost 2 years.
2 years, almost
Oh,
going
awesome,
to 3.
guys.
Almost going to
Yeah.
3. Yeah.
Yeah, so we've been at it, just chipping away.
Yeah, we just started a YouTube not too long ago.
Yeah,
we were
this
always
is
on
very new to
Facebook.
us. We're always on Facebook, Facebook Live.
Yeah.
Back in the day, but we do YouTube Live now.
Back in the day.
There's other podcasts. There is OTR,
If you like
Over the Top
wrestling-
Radio, if you like wrestling. There's Villainy Games if you're a gamer type. Marv, who you saw come in, he also runs Speaking Mind Radio, and he makes sure we sound good and mics are good, and all of
Thanks
this
for making
is
us sound
him,
good.
helping us out. And the Real Shit Talkers, which
Yes.
they're kind of like pop culture.
I love that name. The real shit talkers. I like that.
Yeah, so as the sun sets on this mortal realm,
All right, guys. If you like, I can't do it just like Aesop.
Yo,
'cause we
Aesop
miss
is a
you.
pro.
But man, if you like what you heard here, please subscribe to our channel and find us again here next. Well, actually, no, this Sunday.
This Sunday,
Ooh,
we
this
have
is
a
at the end of
show.
this week. Oh, this is just because we just been doing an
Yeah.
interview. We'll be here this Sunday at
Yep.
8 p.m. Same time, same place, guys.
Yes.
YouTube. Thank you very much, and take it easy, guys.
Woo! Peace.